Price check. I need a price check on severed head. Price check on severed head. And while I'm at it, I need to clean up in aisle 3. Someone's left blood and mutilated body parts in aisle 3. We watched Intruder. We watched it so you don't have to, so you know what time it is.
Horror, so bad and scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad and scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
What's up, Moongoons? Welcome to Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Mr. Marshall Hampton. It's been a hot minute since we're here. We missed last week due to some crazy circumstances, but we're back. It's gonna be an interesting episode because Aaron is not here this week. He is now a brand new papa, proud papa. His baby has been delivered, so he is spending time with his wife and his brand new baby girl, and so he's taking the week off, justifiably so. But in his stead, I got not one but two guests returning to the show: the Dukes of Spook, the host of your second favorite podcast, Nachos McWerewolf, Cincinnati Jeff. Hello and greetings, fellas.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having us, man.
Of course.
How are you doing?
And that's my dog barking in the background. Yeah, you'll hear him. Hopefully, that's the last you'll hear of him. But anyway, yes, the Dukes of Spook, as I like to call them, the gentlemen are back.
I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. So before we get into the show, I also want to two things to announce. Everybody's popping their beers. Sounds tasty and refreshing. I want to shout a big shout thanks to Holly Noel for her most recent Patreon donation. She is our newest Patreon. We want to say thank you to her. We love her. We thank you very much for your generous donation. She was our first 666 donation too, by the way, which was awesome. First person to do that, so that was cool.
Nice.
So moving on. Also, I want to announce the last chance to get your Q&A questions in for our Q&A episode. If you have any questions you want to ask us regarding any horror or anything else related, just want to shoot us some shit, send us in your questions, because I think next week we're cutting it off and we're going to actually go ahead and record our fan Q&A episode. So keep it a look for that. Get your questions in now because it's going to be done.
And they can get those in like Instagram or email.
Yes, thank you. I totally blown off that. Yes, thank you. You can send them to our Instagram page or our Facebook page, Twitter if you have it. But most of all our questions will be coming through Facebook or Instagram. So send them in there. Or you can email your questions to us as well at sobaditscary@gmail.com. That's sobaditscary with two S's. It's and scary, two S's there at gmail.com. All right, moving on to this week's movie. This movie, can't believe I went my entire life so far and not know about this movie because it's insane. But it's Intruder, released on January 13th of 1989. So right at the end of the decade there. You can find this wonderful gem on Amazon. I believe it's also on Tubi if you're a Tubester. You can watch it there too. It's written by Lawrence Bender and Scott Spiegel. Bender has also got 61 credits as a producer, including movies Kill Bill 1, 2, and 3, The Mexican, Reservoir Dogs, and Pulp Fiction. This turned out to be his only writing credit, which is kind of crazy. And then also directed by Scott Spiegel as well. He's got 31 credits as a director, 56 as an actor. He's done movies like Hostel 3, Dusk Till Dawn 2, and he was an actor with bit parts in Spider-Man 2, Dusk Till Dawn 2, 2001 Maniacs, the remake where he was one of the strolling minstrels, Darkman, for those who remember that one.
Oh, yeah.
And Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, where he was Fake Shemp.
He also was the writer for Evil Dead 2.
Yes, I believe he was.
Well, shit.
Good on you, that one. Good catch there. Let's talk about the cast real quick. Our main girl, Jennifer is played by Elizabeth Cox. Your adopted horror fans, you'll know her as Kathy from Night of the Creeps.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have Linda, played by Renee Estevez. Her claim to fame is she is the youngest sister of Charlie and Emilio Estevez. Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez's sister.
She in Sleepaway Camp too?
She was in.
She's the final girl.
Oh,
She was in Heather's, Lethal Weapon, and yes, she was Molly in Sleepaway Camp 2.
the Brat Pack thing. I remember now.
And we have Bill, played by Mr. Dan Hicks, 33 credits, including Darkman, Evil Dead 2, Spider-Man 2, 2001 Maniacs. I see a pattern there working with Scott Spiegel and Lawrence Bender. And Maniac Cop also from the 80s.
Yes.
And I wish Aaron was here for this one because he would get a kick out of it. But he was the voice of Elron the Robot in Pork Chop and Pork Chop 3D as well.
Oh, shit.
So that's now his second time on this show. Along with Renee. I don't know. I think we did do Sleepaway Camp 2 with Renee on the show.
I'm pretty sure you guys did.
Then we have Randy, played by Mr. Sam Raimi, and Produce Joe, played by his brother, Mr. Ted Raimi. So the Raimi brothers are in it. At least I assume they're brothers and not cousins, but I'm
they're
assuming they're brothers because they look like fucking identical. And then we also we have appearances by both Lawrence Bender and Scott Spiegel, the writer-director. One plays Officer Adams, the other plays Breadman, and Bruce Campbell makes a cameo appearance, a small but he's in it as Officer Howard. And it's also worth mentioning that he is credited in this movie as like man in truck, but he also did the special makeup effects, which are really fucking awesome in this movie. But Greg Nicotero worked on this movie as well. So that is the cast we're going to talk about. So now let's get our shopping list out. Let's grab our carts, and it's time to go do some shopping. Because this movie, we're open straight away at the credits over a dark night sky with a full moon, and we pan down to the Walnut Lake Market Grocery, a little I shouldn't say little, but a mom and pop small town grocery store in small town, whatever, I don't know, Texas, Wisconsin, I don't remember where it fucking takes place.
I'm feeling Detroit.
Downtown Detroit. Yeah, it's 8 Mile. Inside are the last remaining customers finishing their shopping. They're checking out. We meet our main girl, Jennifer, and Linda, both of whom work as checkout clerks in the store. Jennifer goes outside around some carts, and we see she's being watched by a man in a leather jacket with a mullet and a beard. And, oh, there's my beard. Oh, it sounds so good.
There's a neat little thing that happens before she does that. The old man that
Yes.
is checking out.
Yes.
He's like, hold hands, you lovebirds. That's Emil Sticka.
Yes, it is.
From the Three Stooges. He's in like a ton of Three Stooges stuff, like that episode where
Dude,
the
that's on
brideless groom.
Tombstone.
Yeah.
Why do I know that?
Yeah,
Hold
he's like a special appearance by this ML Sticka guy. And so, like, some old timey movie fans and old timers will know him, but most younger people have no idea who the hell he is.
You are correct.
But yes, good call. I did skim over his part. So Jennifer heads back inside, rings out one last customer as all the store lights start going off, and up comes a guy in a leather jacket that was watching outside. Turns out his name is Craig, and Jennifer knows him. They know each other. The two of them used to date for a short time, and he wants to know why she won't return his calls. This leads to him getting mad, which scares Linda, who is standing at the next checkout line over. Linda pushes like this button, like this buzzer, like on her checkout lane, and it sends off a buzzer in the back office, so it's like an alarm or something, where the two store owners and managers are. And that's where you meet Danny, the white collar kind of money man of the two owners, and then Bill, who's definitely the more blue collar, hands on, hard working, get my hands dirty store owner. So they kind of complement each other in that regards. The two of them are going over contracts. Because paperwork, you don't really know much. We'll find out more about that as it comes. But then that's when the buzzer rings, and Bill goes over, looks out a window in their office that looks down over the whole store, and we see an argument between Jennifer and Craig. It gets more heated as he starts to get physical with her, trying to grab her wrist. She tries to run away, and he chases after her. He grabs her. She's like, "You're crazy," and he fucking slaps her at this point. Bitch slap.
Craig needs to calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
As the movie goes, this is probably the hardest fight that you see, because some of the fight scenes in here are not choreographed very well.
Not as bad as Mrs. Claus.
And this looks like he fucking actually hauls off and hits her.
Yeah, like God, again, it's
theater slapping.
Fucking 80s, man. Everybody was so slap happy in the 80s. Everybody's just getting slapped in those.
I don't want to say it, but was she hot with the nosebleed, or is that just kind of a little fucking weird here? Moving on.
Well, we found out something about nachos.
That's all you, man.
We've got harboring some dark fantasies over there.
I like it when my gal's got a nosebleed.
So yeah, he slaps her, And now this is when several of the male workers all come running up to her rescue. But Craig is like fucking Captain America here. He fights like all of them all.
It's like that elevator scene. He's just going through the whole fucking store.
Yeah.
It's like 5 or 6 dudes. And Renee Estevez.
Yes. Craig finally decides to retreat and when it's 6-on-1. But when it's 5-on-1, he's kicking ass. Like he's taking everybody out.
He throws like Dave into like the fucking chip thing. It goes flying. Like there's some like sodas that get knocked over.
Because the amazing Raimi brothers show up, and then it's like, oh shit, no, they get fucking.
They get tossed around too. But yeah, once I think it's Danny, the boss, one of the managers shows up at 6-on-1. He's like, okay, now it's time for me to get out of here. But Jennifer, who's like now just said her nose is bleeding, she calls the cops while everyone else starts searching the store looking for Craig. And here we start getting introduced to all the other like workers as we go from person to person as they wander around the store looking for Craig. And this is where I first said that for a small town like mom and pop grocery store, this place is fucking huge. Like it's massive.
It's like a weird labyrinth. Like, I mean, I guess I'm just used to normal grocery stores, but it's like has a terrace and then there's magical ladders and chutes.
And like not even that, but like
I'm okay with that,
the front groceries, the store part is big, fairly large as it is. But then when you go in the back, that's where it becomes like a TARDIS, or like it's gigantic back there. I mean, this place is like a giant warehouse in the back, and it's not just a store. I mean, it's got its own butchery, like its own slaughterhouse attached to the back of this thing, its own like conveyor belts and all. It's insane how big this place is.
It's very unique looking. And what I understand is like it was an actual grocery store they had rented.
Yes.
But it had like empty shelves, so they had to figure that out. So I'm like, man, I've never seen a grocery store like this.
Yeah, like
before.
you don't see those anymore. Like But anyway, this scene goes on for several minutes of them searching around. And we start getting some of the characters' names, and we get Randy, who's played by Sam Raimi, who is the butcher. He's the night butcher. And we have Tim, the beer guy, Bubs, the guy who he kind of talks like a stoner / surfer the whole movie. He's just kind of a weird.
He was
weird guy.
Spicolian pretty hard there for a while.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he really is. And then we have Produce Joe, the goofy, geeky guy played by Ted Raimi. And then so that's kind of our main crew. I think there's one more, Dave, who we'll meet later. While all this is going on, Jennifer is still on the phone with the cops. Craig sneaks up on her because apparently he's a ninja. Like everybody in the store is looking around for this guy, but he's able to like avoid all of them and sneak up on her.
Comes up behind her and then like swoops around, and there's just no awareness from her whatsoever.
No. Okay, so like we were shithead kids growing up, and like we used to play hide and seek in the store and shit like that, but we weren't like a 6'3" fucking, fake ass looking Fonzie dude. So I don't know how he's pulling that shit.
Yeah, like, he's just.
I like Craig's look because he looks how Corey Feldman looks now. As an adult.
I heard that dude's a boner.
Oh boy. So yeah, Craig snatches the phone from her, hangs it up, and then and then he's like, no, like, hey, why are you calling? He's like, give me my change. Like he starts getting mad because he didn't give her change. All right, guys. Sorry about that hope you enjoyed the little EI break there, but we had to take a break because Aaron called in. He called. We stopped recording for a second to chat with him, and he wanted to give his hot takes on the movie for later when we get to it. And he wanted to know everything's doing good, so we put a little EI in there for you guys to enjoy. And now back to the main feature here. So where we left off. Craig had snuck up like a ninja on Jennifer, snatched his phone out of her and hangs up the phone. And then, like, we didn't talk about it, but before the big fight broke out, the 6-on-1 crazy Stone Cold Booker T grocery store fight, he bought a pack of cigarettes, and now
for $1.35.
Again, sign the times, man. Now it's like they're like $5 or something. I don't know. I'm not smoking, but I know they're
almost $10.
Nine fucking. Too goddamn much.
Wow. So yeah, he starts, instead of like, hey, why did you fucking call the cops on me, or why you started fighting? Like, he's like, give me my change, bitch. And he's fighting over his change. And then he force kisses her. He's like, it's a wild. If you start to think about just what's going on, this is insane. He goes from fight, bitch slaps her across the face, makes her nose bleed. Then give me my change, bitch, to I'm gonna kiss you hard. and just
Wait,
force
that's
kiss.
not how you do it? Because Nachos, that's in his playbook.
That's my signature move.
That's how I met your wife.
I stop short and then I do it.
Jesus, guys. Oh. So, and that's when Danny and Dave, this is where Dave is, and Dave's kind of like the all-American, hunky, good-looking guy next door in this movie. That's his
Tell me
type.
how you really feel, buddy.
Yeah. They show up, grab Craig, drag him away, which is so weird because, okay, we just saw like Craig take out like 6 dudes by himself, and now 2 guys are able to grab him, drag him out the
Ted
store.
Raimi does it all by himself. Like, yeah, I got you.
So Danny threatens Craig and then has Bill unlock the door so they can toss Craig out. Afterwards, after Craig's gone, everyone's kind of gathered around. Jennifer tells them that the cops are sending a car out to check on them. While they're all gathered around, Danny breaks the news that he and Bill are selling the store to the city and that they need to mark everything down tonight for a big blowout sale tomorrow, and that their jobs will end about the 1st of the month. And then Danny heads back to the office. After some moaning and moping around about the store closing and going to lose their jobs, all the crew goes back to work for the night to mark down all the prices, and then go butcher some sheep in the back, or who knows what the fuck they're doing.
I'd be getting
This is-
rip-roaring drunk.
This is where my favorite scene in the movie
Well,
comes
that's
in.
why I like Ted, or is it Tim? Tim, the beer guy.
Yeah.
That's kind of what all he does in this movie.
It's like, get fucking train wreck,
Yeah.
because what, you going to lose your job?
yeah, he's losing it
You
anyway.
going to get a bad recommendation?
So right about this time, like you said, they're going back and doing it. And I think it's Dave. So you get Ted Raimi's character Joe, and he's
Produce
he's
Joe.
like
Produce
fucking
Joe.
he's chopping up the fucking produce and the watermelons and shit. And he's listening to this like goofy ass like new
yeah,
wave music.
we can comment on that music later, but yeah, go on.
And like you just see him for a second, and then like Dave just
Dips
pops
it.
his head in the door, and he's like, "You lost your job, Joe!" And then just fucking goes back. It fucking kills me every time I lose my shit.
Yeah, that's
it's so funny to me.
Yeah, it actually is a pretty. I didn't cover it in my notes, but it is a good kind of humorous point in this movie. That I liked it too. It's very subtle, very short, but it fits. It helps kind of show show the characters and personalities.
Right, that's probably how it really goes, like fucking around.
Yeah.
I gotta apologize real quick. My notes for this first chunk are just kind of bullshit. But when they're fighting,
Yeah.
and they grab fucking what is it, Craig by his hair, he flips the dude over him with his hair, like Sindel from fucking Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Sadell or Medusa from Marvel, but yeah,
Good
exactly.
God.
The power of the mullet is strong with
Right.
him.
Do not under
The old Tennessee top hat.
Let's bring it back, boys. We'll be unstoppable.
So they all go back to work. The phone rings. Jennifer answers it, and it's Craig. Just can't get enough. She hangs up on him and goes to talk to Linda. We get some backstory here about how Jennifer and Craig used to date, and that one night they were at a bar, and she broke up with him at a bar in a public place. Craig got upset and started a fight that ended, and during the fight, he ended up he went to prison basically for accidentally killing someone during this fight.
All right.
So he went. It's kind of like an opposite of Con Air. Is that
Right?
what it is?
Yes.
Is
I
that
was
what
just
it
gonna say that. It's like the Nick Cage scene.
It's like the opposite of Nick Cage. He's not
But
staying
he
up for his
killed a man with his hair.
with his hair, the mullet.
So if they started dating, I think they started dating 2 years ago, and he spent 15 months.
Something like that, yeah.
15 months, a year and some change for killing a man?
Yeah, it's the 80s, man.
I guess. Fuck. They saw his hair. and it's
Accidental.
just like, whoa.
Just accidental, it's like, hey,
But
whatever.
Let it go.
And they just let him out. They're like, yeah, this guy's probably okay.
Yeah,
now.
it's fine.
More
It's okay.
cocaine? Okay.
Totally fine. He's rehabilitated. Let him out.
Miami Vices, huh?
So while they're talking, we see Craig standing outside watching him through the glass doors, just standing there stalking him. The phone rings again. This time Linda answers it, but it's just Linda's boyfriend asking if she can bring me some beer when you get off
Some
work tonight.
Corona. I love how she answers him. She's like, listen here, fuckhead. And he's like, whoa, babe, what's up? He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was you.
That's how I answer when my gal calls. Is this where we get the sweet POV from the
Yes.
phone? I love how ambitious this movie is with its fucking shots. We
Yeah.
get a POV from a doorknob.
And that's the first one that you get that's like that.
right?
I
Like,
love
staring
that.
up.
There's a lot of good POV. There's POV. They put a camera in the shopping cart that's going up and down the aisles. That's
Right.
pretty good. There's a lot. They do a lot of good. The camera works really good in this
I think
movie.
they out Raimi with that, or either that or he's like, well, you got me in this
And
movie.
speaking of some camera work, they also do some stuff like light framing with the lighting, because there's a scene where it's much later in the movie, but one of the guys is like outside the office door, and it's like this little box of light, and everything. The rest of the screen is dark, but it's just the way it's framed in this light. It's a great looking shot. It's really wonderful.
Bunch of good, like that lobster tank and shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in this movie that they really did well. So as Nacho said, we get POV shots of someone walking around outside in the parking lot, and then back to Jennifer sweeping up the aisles, and that's where she finds a note for her written by Craig saying that he still loves her and will do anything to get her back.
Yeah, on the paper towel special.
Yeah, on the paper towel marked down. But again, think about this fucking ninja. When he's being chased through the store by 6 people, had time to pull out a marker, write a note, stick it on top of like the markdown sticker, the price tag, and continue sneaking around the store.
I'm going to summon my best Aaron, and you always got time for a good love note.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. So, like, do we get another one of these notes later on, or
No,
is it just
I think it's the only one.
This is the only one.
All right, so like, where did you guys watch yours? You own this shit?
Yeah.
Okay, not shit, like it's a bad movie, and then you.
I rented it. I watched this movie 3 or 4 times. I rented it, and then I just bought it. I straight up bought it on Amazon.
I watched it off of Tubi. I swear to God, when I watch movies streaming, it's like the editing's all fucked up or something because the note scene didn't happen till way later on. But anyway.
Well, so she finds it, and that's where you get the second, like, interesting POV shot, because it's looking up from the floor. She's sweeping popcorn.
Yes, dude, that was fucking tits.
She crumbles it up, throws it down,
and then it covers up the camera.
And it's like a dissolve into the next scene, which is really neat.
Yeah, it's really
George
cool.
Lucas.
Yeah, it's a really cool. There's some really great camera work.
It's
in this
like
movie.
penthouse glass table POV. Okay, I don't want to get into that so much.
So the next several scenes we just watch as a crew goes about their nightly work, restocking shelves, marking down prices, and various other stuff. There is a scene with Jen and Dave, and they agree to go out on a date because Jen secretly had his crush on Dave, and he just broke up with his girl, so now they're gonna go out on a date. And then Bill joins in the conversation, telling Jen that he knows someone at another local store that needs a cashier. He's like, hey, I'll put a good word in for you. I'll help you get a new job when this one's ends. She's like, oh, great, that'd be great. You know, you're such a good guy, Bill. I love you. So then we go to Linda and Bub talking about Craig and how he used to be really cool before he went nuts. Because Bub, I guess they used to be friends. He's like, yeah, you was really cool, man. Then he just went nuts. It was like, oh, dude, I don't get it. Like, not cool, man.
Do you have this whole dialogue exchange?
This is the best.
If you don't, I
got it.
Okay.
Because he's telling her, he's like, we used to be best friends. And then he started stealing. And then he started stealing from me. And he almost killed me one time. And I got to be honest.
And there's the dog again, but go on.
If my brother hadn't hit him repeatedly in the head with a blender, I'd be dead.
Well, Jeff,
it was a Hamilton Beach blender.
Right. You know, best for bludgeoning heads. Go look up their Yahoo review right now.
This goofy dialogue. There's a couple scenes like this, like the Joe thing, lost his job. This one, there's like another one later. I just love that. That's so fun.
It's so weird. Yeah,
it really does. You don't see that in horror movies very often.
You really don't.
I don't know why. Like the first time I watched this movie years ago, I hated it. I was like, I guess I found a shit rip, and it was like you couldn't see what the fuck was going on, and then like it's like, oh, we gotta watch this movie, and then I watch. I was like, God damn, dude, this movie's really fun. This is like an unofficial Raimi movie, kind of. And thank you, for giving me a chance to reevaluate.
Well, you're very welcome.
It's good.
So break time comes for the crew, and we cut. Everyone's in the back, like in the back of the store, like the warehouse section, sitting around a table, eating, drinking in the back, of the, in the back of the store somewhere.
Break room.
And Bill tells a story about how he used to be a volunteer firefighter. And he goes, it drags out, and it does come back later, but at this point I didn't write down my notes. But he talks about this accident that he got called out on that made him finally decide to quit after seeing the gory mess of the accident. And he talks about how I think a captain or some other he worked with he saw him walking down the street with a sandwich in one hand, swinging a severed head in the other. He's like, yep, here's the head, guys, and eating his sandwich like it was absolutely nothing wrong. And then Bill's like, that was it for me. I couldn't do it anymore, and I quit.
That's like gallows humor. Go ahead, bud.
Unfun fact, this exact story was in Raising Arizona with Nick Cage in 1987.
So what's the time? What's the connection?
I don't know. But
I
didn't know that.
Ripped it off.
Fuck, it's a good story.
Maybe it's like one of those like urban legends or something like that.
Scott
just
Speed was
passed
like,
around.
nobody's gonna see Raising Arizona. I'll make this movie
No.
instead.
Oh yeah, that Raising Arizona did come out first. When John Candy scrapes his knuckles on the fucking ceiling, dude, I die. Or was that his little butt? Whatever. Moving on.
Moving on. At this point, the police finally show up, and these two cops are kind of the epitome of the bumbling, dopey local cops. They're like old. They're the guys like, I'm one day away from retirement. They're not even that guy. They're the guys who are like 7 years past retirement age, and
The defective detectives.
Yeah, they're just bumbling dopes.
I bet you one's like O'Connell and O'Malley kind of shit. It's like, oh, come on, guys, fuck.
It's not even a real gun. It's just a piece of wood.
Yeah.
Fucking banana.
So the whole crew goes out to the front of the store to talk to him, let him in, and we get after a very short conversation with the cops, they leave. Like, hey, well, if anybody happens to get in, call us. And they
I like
leave.
how the tall fucking Elwood looking one was basically staring at the chicks the whole time, and like the old one's like, come on, let's go, Ralph. Come on, leave it.
He's fucking sussing the suspects, man. He's sizing them up.
Sizing them up, yeah.
He's an equal opportunist, man. Opportunist. That's a fucking word. Let me get some more fucking things.
Yeah, I think Webster's just made that officially a word. So Linda and Jen, they talk while Jen's checking out Linda's beer because she's buying all of her groceries for the night. Linda mentions how much her man Teddy hates it when she's late because I guess he slaps her around too because it's the 80s. So at
How
this
is she
point,
gonna make a woman learn?
and this is where I think
kidding.
there's like some kind of weird shining telepathic link here because
The Shannon.
now Jen's nose starts to bleed. So I think that's sort of like, I think she's like now anytime there's physical abuse, she just starts getting nosebleeds. There's
Like
a sign like
stress, yeah.
It's like, oh, you get the slappings too, huh? I can tell because my nose is bleeding.
I've been hit there once or twice.
It's like the bleeder from Alone in the Dark.
Alone in the Dark.
That's a good. Sorry, way off topic.
So outside we get some more POV shots of someone walking around and up one of the back doors. We cut to Linda outside going to her car with her bags of groceries. She opens the trunk, places the bags inside, and here's another like cool shot because we see like the shadow of a man. Like she opens her trunk and then the shadow of the man kind of goes like shows up on the trunk, but she can't see
Out
him.
of her POV.
Yeah, and so she closes the trunk, looks up, and she gets grabbed by the neck, and we see a large knife get raised in the air. It cuts to Produce Joe chopping a watermelon in half. So that classic 80s kill to something else
To like
being
a
cut.
cutaway.
Yeah, the cutaway.
Literally.
Is that what you guys got from that? I thought she turned into a watermelon or something. Fuck, I'm okay.
I like as soon as it cuts into it.
You gotta stop smoking so much, Trey.
Well, yeah, they just passed that law.
Yeah.
I'm okay. So, like, yeah, as soon as they do it, and then, like, fucking Produce Joe is sitting there, like, haphazardly cutting into this
what
watermelon.
the fuck? Get a melon baller.
Dancing to his own music.
Yeah, and I
Chomping
at one
away.
point it's like I was thinking like the way he's cutting in, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Because I'm like, he's just like destroying. It's like you can't sell that now. What are you doing? He's just like,
Hey, well, he just lost his job.
he doesn't even know yet. But at the same time, now they're all getting fired anyway. So who cares?
So like maybe you can't even salvage that for like a fruit salad because he's making like octagon.
Yeah,
I
like
don't
it's
fucking
not like
know.
he's kind of like a little piece off. Like, oh, I'll just cut this so I can use the rest for later. He's just like, it's the weirdest, most like chaotic cutting of a
fucking
watermelon
Ted
I've ever
Raimi,
seen.
man.
I loved it.
What is crazy, though, like, at this point, though, like, we've gotten to it a little bit faster,
What
but
is what? What
there
did you say?
has been 30 minutes of the movie now.
Yes.
Something like yeah.
And that's the first kill.
Yes.
Period.
And
Yeah.
then it's just pretty choo choo. Like
But from here,
on
I mean,
track.
I'm not gonna say. I mean, the pace in this movie, for a movie that takes place in a grocery store,
Sure.
which is why I picked this out in the first place, based on the like grocery store. I'm like, okay, this is gonna suck, but it's actually paced very well, I think.
But that is, I would say that is unusual for like especially a late 80s horror movie where you're trying to get to the action normally as fast as possible. At least one or two.
Well, what did Danny Stamen from Friday the 13th Part 5 say? You need to kill or
Every
carrot tits every
10
8
minutes. Yeah.
or whatever.
I don't know. Like, there's such a fine line because I know in the past, Aaron and I, we've complained about how pace is like, oh, we're 40 minutes into the movie and we finally get our first kill. What the fuck, man? It's so, and then there's other times where like there's a kill like in the first 10, 20 minutes or 20 minutes, and then like you get that dry spell for 30, 40 minutes and nothing happens. In this movie, it's the opposite. Like you said, you get the first kill 30 something minutes in, but at this point with this movie, I guess on a movie to movie basis, I didn't bother me because I was like, oh, where's the kills? Because like you said, the writing is interesting enough.
You get kind of lost.
I'm actually you start actually learning a little bit about the character. Not saying there's great character depth and it's
They kept it entertaining.
but there's enough going on with the characters and stuff like that I didn't feel like it was paced slowly, like it was taking a long time. Although I could see some people like, okay, we're in a grocery store, they're cleaning.
Where's the tits?
They're cleaning again. Yeah, where's the tits? There's actually no tits in this movie, which is surprising for a horror movie. But there are 0 tits in this movie, and which is okay. It's when it's all said and done.
I'm gonna do my Aaron again. Marshall, I know that you're okay with it, but I like the tits. I like the tits.
Hey, I love the tits too. Everybody loves them
Godfrey?
titties.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, I don't know what that was. That was
You got to go a little more Brian Posehn with it. You know
got
that.
it.
Come on, man.
nice reference to Brian Posehn, but yeah, I don't know.
He
It was
knows.
30 minutes in we finally get a first kill, and you would think, oh fuck, I would say the very first time I watched it, I was like, fuck, it's gonna be one of those movies where you're not gonna see the kills, you know?
Right.
Like fuck, everything's gonna be a cutaway. Oh boy.
Boy, were you wrong.
I was so wrong. And we're gonna come to some wonderful stuff coming up.
All right.
Real quick.
So I gotta to overcompensate for my lackluster kills of fucking Mrs. Claus, because I was just sucking bad. I have this kind of like as if we were in a grocery store, like you're reading the fucking ad for it for each kill. So it's death number 1. We have curbside delivery. We'll bring the business to you, or bring the business straight to you. You do not even have to get out of the car. You can shut this down real quick if you're not feeling it.
I won't lie, I was not feeling that one.
Okay,
I was not feeling that one. You start off like, oh, curbside. Okay, you start, and then it kind of, and then you went down.
Because she's already out of the car.
She's already out of the car, and yeah. I was thinking, unfortunately, there was no melon ball. I was like, she got melon balled or something, but
She got reverse Gallagher.
Yeah,
I don't know. She turned into a watermelon. They
so
can't hold people.
we jump to Danny and Bill, and they're still in the office talking about the store's finances and how Bill can't believe that the store has been losing money pretty consistently over for however long it's been.
They should be gaining money. They're not giving people their change for $1.30 package.
Yeah,
of cigarettes.
exactly.
Fuck.
Bill voices his disapproval over Danny selling the store, and basically the city's gonna bulldoze it and all this stuff. But Danny's like, I don't care. He mentions to Bill that at least, hey, Bill, at least you're getting some money out of it. You're making a profit, so shut up. And Danny,
He's a real dick.
He is kind of a dick.
I kind of hope he dies.
Danny tells Bill to sign the final contract or something like that. He's like, sign the goddamn contract. Bill hesitates. Danny gets more firm with Bill. Bill then begrudgingly signs the paperwork, the contract, signing over, the sale of the store. Then leaves the office, leaving Danny to go over in the office alone to finish his paperwork. We cut to Jen in the bathroom, cleaning herself up from the blood. And then it goes right back to Bill loading the industrial compactor with boxes. And I saw that, I'm like, whoo! Maybe foreshadowing there. And
did they do the shadow thing, or is that later?
No, that's much later.
Okay, moving on.
He hears a noise, he goes off to investigate, and he ends up by one of the back doors. There's a lot of back doors in this place because it's fucking huge.
This place has so many exits.
It's so many exits.
It's like you're having that hard of a time getting out.
You're not dying in a fire at this point.
No, there's so many exits. And then he comes to this one back door. It's down like a long hallway. It's like the weirdest. Like it's this long hallway that ends in one door, and he's standing like all the way at the end of the hallway, looking down like this 30-40 foot hallway. But somehow he manages to see the tiny little doorknob just slightly wiggling back and forth.
They reused this shot a couple times, but
and they really try to hamper on the tension of this. It's like doorknob squiggle. Bill's eyes, doorknob wiggle. Bill's eyes, doorknob wiggle.
I mean, it goes back so many times. I feel like the hammer that he's holding even gets a scene for a second.
Yeah, Bill is holding an old claw hammer at this point. So, and then it just cuts to Bill outside. So, like, nobody comes in the door. He doesn't go open the door. Just Bill's outside now. And he's looking around, and he finds Craig.
Is this the cool dumpster reveal?
Yes.
Dude, sweet.
He's walking around, and he's by the dumpster, and I guess he bumps it or something, and because the dumpster lids are up, and one of the lids falls down to reveal Craig hiding behind the dumpster, peering in through like the bathroom window like a pervert. He's like, huh?
Just watching Jennifer getting changed.
I love his face. He's like,
Yeah, exactly. Like, whoa. And so he's watching Jennifer through the bathroom window. Bill and Craig get into a fight now.
Come to the second greatest fight of the movie.
This fight is pretty bad. I'm sorry. Again, especially after we saw Craig manhandle 5 people by himself, and now it's one-on-one with Bill, who in this movie is at least 40, 50-ish.
change.
And Craig's like in his 20s. He should easily be like just dominating
You know what?
Bill.
I got it. Fucking Craig was all coked out and roided up earlier, so it's wearing down.
Now he's worn off.
Right, yeah.
That would make sense.
What's crazy is when he like shoves Bill up against the dumpster, like that lid. It's kind of like
Almost bites his fucking head off.
yeah, it's like leaning against the building, and like it almost takes him out. And I don't think that was intentional.
I'm
like,
sure that wasn't.
Imagine him being like just an inch back. Like
Yeah.
he'd have been brained.
Yeah, that really would have
Dan
been.
Hicks going, hey now, what the fuck?
We'd have had a Twilight Zone movie kind of instance
It's
on
a
our hands.
fucking plastic dumpster lid. Calm
Yeah,
down. It's not like the dumpster itself like hopscotched on him or
It
something.
looked, it sounded metal. I don't know.
But,
Sounded metal.
so they're fighting really badly, and the fight ends when Bill had a claw hammer. He drops the hammer when he gets knocked up against the dumpster. Craig picks it up, gets like tripped or falls on the ground. Bill goes like dive on him, but Bill bashes Bill over the head with the hammer, and Bill goes flying back into a pile of boxes by the dumpster. And then it just cuts away. That's the scene.
I guess he's out of commission.
So more scenes of the crew working, and then we go back to Danny in the office. Danny gets grabbed around the neck from behind, and as Danny, he's getting strangled. Right? We see him getting strangled. He tries to reach out for the store's like intercom thing, like that's sitting on the desk, and his fingers keep hitting the button, but all the crew hears is this high pitched feedback. It's like, which. Earlier in the movie, they do reference like how the intercom is a little messed up because they try to make an announcement to the crew, and you get the high pitched feedback. He's like, "Sorry about that," and he makes an announcement. But now he's hitting the button; it's just high pitched feedback. The crew's like kind of ignores, like, it's just ignoring the feedback.
He's
it's
like
just,
screaming, like, "Help me!"
but the screams aren't coming through. But yeah, and he's like, "Help me!" And we cut back to Jen working, and the store phone rings. She goes to answer it, and on the other end is Teddy. Linda's boyfriend, asking her if Linda's still there. Jen's like, no, she left a while ago. And you can hear Ted, in the background, just getting that slapping fist warmed up because that bitch ain't back with his beer yet.
Putting the baby powder on it.
He's doing the LeBron
Cocaine on his hand. Get real. Come on.
He's doing the poof, the powder up. Warm up the slapping hand.
Blow on it because it's getting upset.
So we jump back to the office where Danny is now slowly getting his head pushed down face first, like onto I don't know what these things are fucking called, but you see them in all these
I
movies.
call them receipt spikes.
Yeah, they're basically the receipt bill paper thingy that's just like a giant pointy spike that somebody puts on a desk. Why anybody thought that was a good idea, not dangerous?
Use
Yeah.
a fucking
Never
paper
knew.
clip. You
Yeah,
wouldn't
it
even
It's just like a sharp paper holder.
Or just
I work with those things,
It's
man. I know
basically just
about
a
it.
fucking desk weapon. Like I'm just getting inbox, or like a little cute box. But no, it's one of those giant like good
A fucking-
6 inches of
it's like a
metal
hockey puck
spike.
at the bottom, and then just like a
metal spike. Exactly.
And he's like using it earlier, and he's like going to town
Yeah, like,
on it.
zoom,
And like the whole
zoom.
time, I'm like, oh, he's gonna get himself.
You gotta
Oh, he's
spread
gonna
your
get
fingers
himself.
all vulcan up on
That's
it.
another really good camera because they shoot from low, so the camera's like right at the base of that thing, and you see his hand coming down with the paper. I thought the same thing first time watching. I'm like, oh my god, like he's gonna get his hand through that thing.
Yeah.
But just like in Industrial Compactor, I see that close at that special camera. I'm like, ooh, foreshadowing.
Yes.
And then I see this like, yep, here it comes. So he's getting his head slowly pushed down closer to the end of this the sharp point of this thing. And the desk lamp gets knocked over as Danny's head is forced down onto the receipt spike, and his face gets impaled, and it impales into Danny's soft left eye hole, just right there, right through the eye.
His what?
Soft left eye hole. Normally it's soft eye hole, but for some reason I put the left in there. But normally it's soft eye hole,
Speak to me, sweet lips.
and blood pours out of his eye and it
Onto the
falls
lamp?
off onto the light bulb that's knocked over the lamp, turning
It's
the
so
light
cool.
red in the room. It's really cool.
What do you got?
I didn't have anything.
Death number 2.
You better come strong with this one, man.
Bring it.
You are on a.
Danny got the red light special.
There you go. I'll take that one. And that works for groceries. The red light special.
That is cool. It even sets up the whole theme because, like, you don't see the killer because he sets, like, a bottle, like, Hennessy or something he's drinking down. It's like a green glass.
Yes, and they do that.
fifth.
And they shoot through the green glass
movie
bottle.
is shot with
There's
love.
some awesome
And then
camera
the killer
angles.
comes in and you can't see who it is. And then when all that blood drips on there and it slowly coats the whole office in red,
Yeah.
which they, like, show a couple times
Yes.
later, which is really cool.
Yeah, this movie actually has, unlike a lot of horror movies we've done, this one actually, I did not really catch any real continuity errors with this movie at all, as far as, and just because I'm just thinking because they keep going back to the red light that's always there. So they did a good job of that, but it was really cool, like that blood dripping out of the light bulb, and you see it
Even
like,
when they check
wash
through, like,
over the
the
ceiling.
little peephole slide later, you can see the...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of drunk. It was like
that was
6
a
in the
weird thing,
morning.
like the weird like sliding
Spy
like
hole.
Nobody gets in the scene.
like
The
the old,
wizard. Nobody
the old
know how.
speakeasy slide right. Yeah, like what the hell?
Walt sent me.
So, the killer goes over to the fucking speakeasy slidey window thing and looks out into the store and watches Jen as she's just going about her work at the checkout line. So we cut down to Jen standing in sort of like this. She's kind of like in a trance, like just kind of spaced out, looking down into a bucket of water as like more blood drips off her nose into the bucket.
She's just profusely bleeding from
Yeah.
that nose.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it.
Oh God, you need help, man. There's something wrong.
She's losing iron and I'm getting boners.
So Dave, he comes up, snaps her out of her trance. She hugs him while telling him everything that has her all worked up and scared, and that her nose won't stop bleeding. And she saw Craig spying on her through the bathroom window, and that Linda didn't seem to make it home, and she's blah, 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 blah. Dave calms her down. This leads them to just making out now. It's like, it's okay. Let me make everything better with the power of my lips. And they start making out on top of the checkout line. Like, they're laying on top of like the conveyor belt, like we're beep, beep. It's just they're on top of it
And he's
going
like
at it.
tickling her.
Yeah.
From my experience, girls don't like to be tickled. They what my wife prefers to do is piddle themselves.
Or get nosebleeds.
So this is going on. We see Tim the beard dude, spying on them from behind the beer racks.
Just creeping on him,
Just
man.
creeping on him. So Tim, who wants to get a closer look, comes out from behind the beer cooler and creeps up closer to him and watches from the end of an aisle cap and watches them make out on top of the checkout line. And then we see however the killer is now spying on Tim, who's spying on them from
Creeping
behind
on,
the beer
creeping
cooler.
on, creeping.
Yeah, it's creepy. Then we cut to Produce Joe working the bag, eating olives out of a jar. He reaches into the jar to try to grab an olive, and with his fingers, and we see a close up, and we see his fingers brush up against like an eyeball and then like he brushed up against the eyeball. Then he grabs an olive that was
You
like
think
right
that's
next to the
Danny's
olive.
eyeball?
Yeah, I would assume so. And then he eats the olive, and I was like, how the fuck did the eyeball get in there? But then I was like, but still, it's such a cool shot. I'm like, that's fucking creepy, man.
Yeah.
That's
Just straight
scary.
finger blast in that jar.
Yeah, he is.
This is like one of several miscellaneous body parts just strewn about the store
Yes.
in places they don't belong.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with that.
I was
That's
fine too
awesome.
because part of me is like, how the fuck the eyeball in there? Like, that's stupid. There's no way an eyeball. But I was like, I didn't care because it was so. I liked it. It was well done. The tension of him like his fingers like
Dancing around it.
Yeah, he's like. It was like feeling that G spot, do the little tickle.
Gonna
Of
get that
the
pimento.
Anyway, so PJ Prosto finishes his cheese and veggie tray that he's working on, goes out to put in like a large walk-in cooler, and as he goes into the cooler, he walks past this hanging one of these metallic knife racks that hangs on the wall, and you see that it's got 3 knives on it.
That was real
It's real subtle. It's real fucking subtle.
The only clue is the noise.
Shing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he opens the door, and the door covers up the knife rack. He comes out, closes the door, and now there's only 2 knives on the rack where there were 3. So again, subtle, but it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, man. It's like that subtle.
Do you remember when they do that in Jason Takes Manhattan?
No.
Sorry, most people don't watch those movies like every other day like I do.
I mean, I remember the movie, but I just don't remember what was that in the. Was that still on the cruise ship then?
Yeah, the cruise ship. They're in the kitchen.
Okay.
It's the old fucking beef jerky looking dudes walking by, and then like he turns the corner and they walks past the same knife rack.
I don't remember that part, but
It's okay. Most people don't remember that movie at all.
So now, this is where you mentioned it earlier, but this is where I mentioned it, that this entire movie, every time we see Pros Joe, good old PJ, he's listening to music on his Walkman with his headphones on.
Doing his
But
thing.
every time we see him, it's the exact same song.
Same point.
Yes, every time he's on screen, it's the exact same song, the exact same point every time. So it's like an endless loop of just this.
Okay.
This like synth techno.
Yeah, it's this weird
Beep, beep,
music.
boop, boop, techno.
Yeah, it's beep beep boop boop. It's so weird, and I kind of hate. This is the one thing I don't like about the movie is because it gets annoying, and the song never changes every single time. But anyway, PJ, he's chopping veggies like a fucking madman.
Right, that's a cleaver's job.
Chopping broccoli.
Yeah, he might as well be. But like he's doing like crazy. He's not like doing like the chef chops where it's like chop 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 chop. He's doing like so his chops like they're not just like like I said the chop 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 chop. He's doing full on arm behind his head like wind up chops, rearing up chop.
Like he's fucking A-Rod.
Yeah, like it's insane. So he's taking the knife all the way up back to his head, chopping down the side, and then and that's when he's suddenly PJ. I'm sorry, I'm saying it because it's kind of cool. He himself gets chopped in the back of the head with the large knife. The knife cuts his headphones in half, which fall off his head onto the floor.
That's
which
so
I
fun.
loved it. I thought that was
cool.
great.
And the music is still playing.
Yes, still playing.
There's no reason it wouldn't.
That's very true. There's no
You
reason.
are correct. You are correct. But I love that
it's a great touch.
They kept with that.
Yes.
That I like that.
So after Pro Joe falls to the floor dead, the camera lingers then on a sign on the wall that reads "Safety first, knives are sharp, please be careful." Which again, just
Real
fun.
tongue in cheek.
Yeah, just fun stuff. We got back to Dave out in the store restocking his shelves while Jen continues to clean her checkout lane. There's this gag that goes on between Dave and Bub. Dave stocking shelves and Bub's on the other side of the aisle, just being a dick, just knocking the shelf, like the stuff he stocks, knocking it onto the floor.
I like how
over
when
and over
Dave
again.
goes to cut the detergent out of the box before that happens,
Yes.
and he like
gets
too fucking he gets too into it, and he cuts the fucking detergent. He holds up, he's like, "God damn it, not again!"
That's why you use a box cutter and not a pocket.
And that was the days before pods, people. That was the old. That was
You had to mix that shit with water and drink.
You couldn't swallow this.
Oh, I have a death for 3.
So at this point we cut to we see PJ's body getting dragged off screen, and this one the music's still playing, but it's all like slowed down. It's like
The batteries are dying or something.
or like the tape's all messed up from. Okay, Nacho's like he has a.
It's real good.
It better be good.
It's not a groan.
Better be.
The killer is slashing the competition's prices.
The red light one was better.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Shut up, twat. Here, hang on to that for me.
So we jump back to Randy now, knocking on the office door looking for Danny. Now he's not getting any answer. He looks through the hole in the door, and this is the one thing I did not understand about this, because the doorknob to this door is missing, but I don't think it was missing earlier. So I don't know why there's suddenly no doorknob in this door.
So what
Is
I
it a
assume
freezer door thing?
No, this is the office door because he went to go look. He's knocking on the office door looking for Danny and Bill.
Shit,
and because he looks through he peers through the doorknob, the hole where the doorknob should be, into the office.
and didn't get stabbed in the eye.
So here's what I think. Because you can see that red light shining through,
Yes.
which is great.
Yeah.
I just assumed that the killer removed the knob so that you couldn't enter that
like
room
fucking Resident
and see
Evil.
the carnage.
Yeah, but couldn't you still? And you just open the door, put your fingers in the hole now and pull the door open.
Most likely.
I mean, that's not a way to keep
I didn't see if it had a deadbolt, but I assume that's probably how you could get into it.
But
Spoiler alert, there's not really any carnage in there.
But if it had a deadbolt, that means he would have to lock from the inside, and then he can't get out of the room.
Hey, man, I'm the viewer, not the killer.
Normally, this is the part I blurt out. Let's not do the movie's job for it. But this movie's actually very competent, so I'm glad we're taking the time to figure this out.
This is the one thing I don't understand. Like, I don't get.
You said that there was a spot where you didn't think they made any mistakes. So actually, later on, they do run by the office, and there's a scene where you see the door.
What if the killer's a
instead of
trickster?
missing the doorknob like a hole, it's missing the doorknob on this side, but the mechanism is still in the door. Like that little silver plate that allows it to go through is still in there. It only happens one more time later in the movie. It's real quick, but I caught it earlier.
Huh.
And maybe they just had to go back and shoot the scene.
Maybe.
It's like filler or something. They forgot
I didn't
about
catch it. I have hobbies, so yeah.
I missed. The part you're talking about, I missed that. But yeah, it was so weird. Like it's only now the doorknob's missing. Anyway, he peers through the hole in the door, and as he's looking through the hole, we see a shadow of a man kind of come up behind him. But as the shadow gets closer, a ladder falls on Randy, causing him. And then the shadow's like, oh, and the shadow like darts off because he's about to get caught.
This is so dumb.
And look, Randy's like, who the fuck put a ladder? Like, oh wait, I put
He's
it
like
there.
yelling at the ladder, and then he's like, "Man, it was my fault."
Yeah,
Real Randy. He's like, hey, wait a minute, what's funny? Oh,
I like how
that was
the
me.
shadow made the ladder appear much larger than it is.
Yes.
As it falls, he sets it. It looks like it's an 8-foot ladder.
Yeah.
He says it's like a 3-foot fucking ladder.
Yeah, it's like a small ladder.
I don't know why it was that way, but it just made me
Was
chuckle.
that the same ladder they used earlier when old boy was like, "You boys were up in the attic"?
No,
smoking
because
they
that
have one.
ladder.
was like nailed in.
Yeah, that ladder's
okay.
actually attached to the wall. It's just like wooden rungs nailed in, screwed into the wall.
So I was like half awake when I watched this.
We cut to Tim putting new price stickers on some beer in the back while continuing to drink beer.
Who does that?
At the door, yeah, I don't know who drinks. It's fucking stupid. A door at the end of the hallway squeaks open. Tim hollers down for someone to shut the door. Not getting any response, he gets up, goes down to the door. He opens it up, sticks his head through the doorway, and hollers out for people to keep the doors closed. And remember to keep the door to the beer coolers closed as well. Tim then closes the door, turns to go back to work, and that's when he gets stabbed in the stomach with a large knife. He falls back against stacks of beer, which cause some of the beer cans to rupture, sending beer spraying along the walls along with his blood. And it's kind of cool looking, but yeah.
So shouldn't
Nacho's got a big old smile on his face. He's all excited about something here.
So did he get stabbed so hard that the knife actually pierced
Yes,
him?
I thought that too, but the knife, I don't think so, because it's not. If it was a machete, yeah, but the knife's not.
It's like a butcher knife.
It's just a regular,
Hold up,
like
boys.
Michael Myers
I
kitchen
can
knife.
flex here. I used to work in the meat department at Schnucks, so you can get a 14-inch kitchen knife, from the tip of my finger to the tip of my elbow, easily pierce through.
I've seen
motherfucker.
bigger.
Yeah, you,
Well,
of course you
if that's
have.
it, but I don't think that knife. I think it was just a regular, like Michael Myers kitchen knife. And I thought the same thing too. Like, oh, did it pierce? Like, the knife's not big enough. So I think it was just the force
Pure
of his
rage.
body hitting
Right.
the
Just
beer caused it
knocked
to
it loose.
like not.
Well,
And
that's
I-
good too.
I liked how the cans were generic beer.
Yes, the beer brand beer.
And then they had like different boxes with different colors that still just said beer.
Yes, I love that.
Hey,
The
if
beer
you go
brand
to the
beer.
store, could you bring me beer brand beer?
Beer brand
Do you
beer.
guys remember when they had Beer 30 brand beer?
No.
Don't.
Death number 4. This blood's for you. Or
Oh, there you go.
it's killer time.
I like this blood's for you. That's better.
Options.
So we now there's some more quick fire shots of others working. Jen's still cleaning the goddamn checkout lanes. Randy's cutting up some chicken.
Well, she keeps
Bubs-
nose bleeding all over.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
Bubs is using the industrial trash compactor in the back. Bub goes to load some more boxes into it when he sees a shadow of someone on the other side of the compactor.
Cool.
So he thinks it's Tim messing around with him. Bubs does okay, now I know I said earlier I didn't think there was much wrong with this movie, but there's another thing that what's about to happen does bother me a little bit. So Bubs does a complete lap around the compactor machine, but doesn't find anyone. But when he gets back to the front of the machine, we see the killer rise up from behind the machine again. So I'm like, that means he never left the back of the machine. So that means Bubs would have had to walk right past the fucking killer.
You know where Bubs didn't look?
Up or in the machine, I guess. But still, I was like, that kind of bothered me a little bit.
I gotta disagree here, and I have
Really?
a different opinion on this
Okay,
scene.
let's
Simply
hear it.
because looking through the mesh, it's very obvious, in my opinion, that it's Craig. because he is potentially still around at this point. We don't know.
Okay.
And when Bub makes the full journey around, and then there's the scene where obviously he's about to take it, the killer actually comes from the other end. So you see this Craig type figure behind the mesh.
Get the dry erase board. This is bullshit.
Bub walks around.
Yes.
And then he can't find him, and then Craig kind of appears again, and then technically,
but the killer comes from behind. I know, it's so weird. It's like you see the shadow behind the compactor. He walks around, no one there. He comes back to the front. The shadow rises up again from the back of the compactor. But when Bubs gets grabbed from the front, so that means the killer is. It's fucking
so that
weird.
with you, that I agree with. I don't know where the hell whoever's back there goes.
Yes,
but I really believe that is actually misdirection on this in the film. Because since the killer somehow comes from the other end, I really feel like this is actually Craig stalking around, and because you see like the leather jacket.
Yeah, you do.
Did you in the shadow?
Yeah, you can see the like silhouette.
Okay, then I mean, if that's the case, I mean, I love that idea. If they did that, that's really cool. But I missed it. I didn't see it. But anyway, so
what Nachos was saying earlier, like the first time he saw it, he didn't like it. Back in the VHS days, it was really dark and hard to see. So I'm not sure what version is up online.
DVD.
But like I have like the Synapse Blu-ray version, and they had to clean it up,
cool.
and they like brightened it.
No, the version I bought off Amazon was supposed to be like the, I don't know, special director's cut or
so
something.
I think we should have the same one.
Yeah, it's like
the uncut. So it should be
version.
the same one.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Because the first time I saw it, I never could recognize this, and then in my Blu-ray, I'm like, that looks like Craig, and it was weird to me.
I got it. It's like in Sleepaway Camp when it's the scene where fucking old girl Judy, when she gets the snipped the hair curler jammed up her butt or whatever, and vag, debatable. That's still out on that. When you see Ricky in the fucking silhouette of it, but they light it and it's just Ricky in a wig.
Yes.
They weren't banking on like higher technology later down the line.
Kicking it up a notch.
Right.
I just assumed it was like a red herring, but that's what, from what I have now,
I don't know.
that's what I see.
Anyway,
Red Scary.
that's interesting. Maybe could be right. I mean, if it is Craig and then Craig disappears and then the killer comes. Anyway, Bubs hears the sound of glass breaking, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin comes in. No, I would. He goes over to check it out.
Chucked.
And he sees Tim behind the beer brand beer shelf.
This is cool.
Tim has been propped up and made to look like he's still alive. So Bubs is like talking to like his head. He's like blah 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 blah. And then in the end, this is also weird because the geography of this scene doesn't make any sense either, because when it starts, Bubs is in like the back warehouse section with the compactor, but when it cuts to Bub looking at Tim through the shelves, you can clearly see that Bub is out in the front part of the store where all the groceries are. And now he's looking back to the back. So it's really crazy. So, and then anyway, popping up from behind the beer shelf come two arms that grab Bub and pull him up, over, and through the shelves while he's kicking his feet. So for some bullshit reason, Dave doesn't hear the loud echoing sounds of all the beer cans clanking and falling on the floor and all the ruckus that Bub is making being pulled through the shelves. Nobody hears this, even though it's a tiny store. The camera even cuts to Dave just working on the aisles nearby, and Dave only stops to look up to see, when a beer can goes rolling by.
Still putting away the dish detergent.
Yeah.
Dave, this is why the store is losing money. You've been here for an hour, and you're putting away the same goddamn box.
Yes.
You know what we should do after we get done with this episode? Go down to the local grocery store and recreate, not the murders, but the everything else. See how long it takes for people to be like, oh?
So we cut to the back of the store where we see the killer now carrying a screaming Bub over his shoulder, like firemen carrying this guy over his shoulder. Bub gets carried over to the compactor. The killer forces Bub's head into the machine, turns it on. Bub screams in terror as the killer continues to hold him down with one hand as the compactor plate slowly lowers down onto Bub's head. And this head-crushing effect looks fucking awesome.
All the gore in this movie is great.
Amazing.
Slow clap for that. It's so cool.
And when you combine it with the sound effects that they play during the head crunch, it's just fucking brutal and bloody. It's amazing.
The guy who plays Bob is a terrible actor, but in this scene, he's really selling like he's actually about to be crushed. Like, I firmly fucking believe it. What a great, like, shot, too. You can see right down to his fucking fillings. Like, that is fun.
They go above and beyond with this. Oh, death number 5. The Baylor's not a toy. If you don't know what you're doing, get a coworker to help you. Safety first. Dead fucking serious.
So, time passes. We jump to Randy working in the large walk-in meat freezer of the butcher shop slaughterhouse part of the store. That has whole dead pigs hanging from hooks that hang down from a rail system on the ceiling.
There's some Italian boxer in the
there's like
back just
Rocky's
going to town on him.
Hey, Paulie, is this okay?
And the penguin screaming at him. I don't know what's going on. This movie's off the rails.
As he goes through all the various wrapped meats on the shelf, he finds a bloody severed hand wrapped up like it's ready, like a steak ready to sell.
I love right before this, he's like, smells one. He's like, "Ooh, you're going on special tomorrow real hard."
Yeah.
Dude, I used to work in the meat department. Dead fucking serious. That's how that goes down.
But again, I love this killer just has time for, I guess, pranks? He's putting eyeballs in olive jars, and now he's wrapping up his severed hand.
Shrink wrapping it, too.
Shrink wrapping it?
He's a real youngster. Honestly, you could shrink wrap.
I wish you would have, like, went in close with it. Maybe, like, saw, like, a price tag on it or something. Like, with the full poundage.
Yeah, $5.99 a pound or something like that.
Manager special.
So that's when he gets grabbed from behind, and this, I do call bullshit on this, too, because as soon as he gets grabbed from behind, keep in mind, a hand, singular, that grabs him on like top of his shoulder, like a collarbone, and then lifts Randy at least like a foot off the ground, one hand by like the shoulder. So he
pulls
weird.
like a Jason Voorhees kind of one arm.
The killer's like a T-800.
Yeah, like it's not like he gets him underneath the armpit and hoists him up. He's grabbing him like
pinches him.
He pinches him like a Vulcan, like death lock,
like in Toy Story. The claw.
It's the claw. Yeah, he grabs him like the shoulder, the collarbone, and lifts him a foot up off the ground. While he's got him off the ground, he impales Randy's face through one of the dangling meat hooks and leaves his body hanging off the hook. And as the hook's coming through his face.
Does it pop out his mouth or just it's in the zone?
It does not. It's just in the zone. And Sam Raimi looks so good in this scene. He really sells it.
He's selling it.
It's really good. Blood's pouring out from under the freezer door. It's like leaking out into
dripping onto like down to the floor. You see like the reflection up. This is another really cool shot.
So we cut back to Jennifer, who's still fucking cleaning her checkout line. Now, you're right. This is why they're losing money. She has spent like an hour cleaning this same checkout line.
She's doing the job. They're just not paying her for it.
Dave is also still working in the aisle stock and sell.
We missed this earlier though. When she starts cleaning, she's got that bucket, and we get one of those other POV shots from inside the bucket, and she's crying.
Was it crying? No, I didn't think
tears in a bucket.
Is it blood?
I talked about because that's right when Dave comes up. He's like, "Oh, I'm so scared. My nose won't stop bleeding."
Is that blood in there?
Yes, it's her nose dripping blood.
I was getting ready to drop some woo on you guys. 2 tears in a bucket. I'm not saying that word. And right, you know where we're going from here.
There's a quick shot of another bloody severed hand being dropped into the lobster tank, which back in the 80s was still a thing where you could go to the supermarket and they had a lobster tank.
The last one I saw
Give me that lobster.
Was literally
shopping
right
in Collinsville.
No, mine was right across from Belleville East. The Schnooks used to have one.
The Schnooks on the west end of Belleville when I grew up, they had a lobster tank. I remember as a kid, I always loved going, "Oh, we're looking at the lobsters."
Yeah.
They're like
rubber
a fish
band
thing, and they're
together.
rubber band. Like, why are there fish here? Like
that shit is not around anymore.
Nope.
PETA said no to that.
Yes.
Dude, I got one. So my uncles used to get drunk and surprised. And then like Collinsville, the lobster tank, they take the lobsters out and do lobster races and Schnooks and whip cupcakes, like from The Simpsons kind of shit. Anyway.
You got a kill for this?
Oh, I do. With our state-of-the-art facilities, our freezers, our meat stays longer.
You fucked that up. You're done. You're done. You're done.
I retire those.
You're done. Dave, who thinks Bob is on the other... Bub is on the other side of the aisle, asks Bub to toss over a box cutter. Box cutter gets tossed over the aisle. Dave tries to catch it, but it cuts the palm of his hand, so he heads to the back of the store to clean himself up.
Close it when you throw it, dick.
Yeah.
Don't they automatically close?
No.
No, not the old ones.
Okay.
Even mine doesn't.
In the back, he finds a meat slicer that has been left on. He goes to turn it off, and then he goes to bandage his hand up. And in one of the bathroom stalls, he finds a set of severed feet wearing boots, which he thinks is actually pig's feet that Randy placed there to
Just
mess
more
with
body
people.
parts.
There's more body parts.
Real funny,
lined up.
guys. Good with the pig's feet.
And it made me wonder, whose fucking feet are those, though? Like, we've not seen anybody get, like, shredded or cut in half or anything yet. Like, who is severing feet post...
Well, I
And hands
I
and
think they
feet.
kind of answer it later. I don't want to spoil it now, but I'll get to it later.
Okay. Oh, my God.
Sorry, I muffled that.
Was that Marty?
Yeah, that was the...
Marty.
So Dave leaves the bathroom, heads to the walk-in meat freezer looking for Randy. He's about to open the freezer door when some flour falls down from the ceiling. Next to the freezer is that ladder you're talking about, where it's like a ladder, it's like nailed to the wall that leads up to like this attic storage space. So he climbs the ladder, calling out for Randy and Bub. He opens the hatch to the attic. A fake head with a Halloween mask falls on him. After the jump scare, he shines his flashlight around the dark storage area, not seeing anything. Goes to climb all the way up, and that's when up pops a bloody and somehow still alive Danny, the man owner.
He won't die.
He will not die. Who's missing his eyeball and bleeding profusely from the eye
that
socket.
money, trying to sell that store.
Dave loses his grip, falls, but quickly scrambles to his feet, runs away screaming. He runs up to another window that overlooks the front of the store. When he looks out,
This
he
is
sees
so
Craig.
bizarre.
Yeah, it's a crazy layout.
It's like Discovery Zone / a grocery market.
DC, where kids wanna be.
He looks out and sees Craig walking down an aisle towards Jennifer. Dave starts like banging on the window. Apparently, it's like soundproof glass now too,
Right,
or bulletproof because he's
you
like
know.
nobody hears him. Jen never hears him screaming or sees him. Dave runs back over to the ladder, climbs back down, completely ignoring the bloody and pleading for help Danny. He's like, help me, help me. He's like, fuck you, Danny. I'm out of here.
You killed my job. I don't give a fuck about
He
you.
just leaves Danny there, and but when Danny kind of grabs for Dave, just scares Dave, even though he clearly sees him right in front of him, and Dave falls off the ladder.
I already have his death number too, so he's dead already.
Yeah,
He's dead to me.
but I fucking love what happens next. I love this so much. Dave slowly gets up, and right as he stands up, we see the killer, who goes all John Woo action movie style, somehow come flying into view, holding on to the meat hooks on the rail system, feet raised, drop kicks Dave in the chest. The killer drops from the meat hook and proceeds to hack at Dave with a meat cleaver that somehow he managed to hold on to while holding onto the meat hook, sliding down the railing.
This is one talented killer.
I
He had
love
it in
this.
his mouth. I just hear like that.
Oh, like a fucking pirate?
He has like he's doing the Tarzan. It's like or whatever the fuck.
That's you
And
set
now
my
we
dog
set the
off.
dog
Good
off.
going. You set my dog off. The meat cleaver grazes Dave's cheek. The killer then drops the cleaver, grabs Dave by the ankles, and starts to drag Dave across the floor. Dave tries to grab for the cleaver as he gets dragged past it, but he's unable to actually get his hands on it. Unsuccessfully. The killer picks Dave up and flops him down on a giant reciprocating meat saw.
The bandsaw.
The blade of which is right by his head. And again, I will say there's no way the killer would have been able to do all this and hold Dave down, because Dave's not a tiny guy, but he does it with one hand, holds Dave down on top of the saw with one hand. Dave should have easily been able to escape, but fuck it, I love it anyway. The killer flips the switch, the saw roars to life, and the killer pushes Dave's head through the saw, which cuts Dave's head in half. And again, the fucking special effects on this kill are so, I'm going to say again, fucking amazingly awesome. Like, especially when you think about the time that this was made, like in 88, 89, and this was all done with practical effects. This is one of the most amazing, awesome special effects shows I've ever seen.
It's so good. Like, if you compare this to like the Bub one, like you can see, you could poke holes in the Bub one like a little bit, like
yeah.
But like with the Dave one, like, and what I love most about it, it's like a lot of movies would go with the easy kill. You'd put it at the neck, right? Or you put it maybe at the top of the head. You've seen that
no, this goes right through the center.
It's right at the nose, bridge, like right above the teeth.
Yeah.
And like his teeth are showing the whole time.
Yeah.
Dude,
it is dirty.
It is one of the gruesome vicious
And
kills.
it's like there's a good like it leads back to it later. It's so fun.
So fucking good. One of the best kills I've ever seen.
That's rough.
We go back to Jennifer alone in the store. She starts calling out and looking for all the others as she starts wandering around the empty aisles. She picks up a box that fell off the shelf, puts it back. Another box falls off. So kind of like that thing we saw with Dave and Bub. Yes, it's the detergent again. Now she's starting to get really nervous and scared that no one's answering her. So she heads to the back, still calling out for people. As she walks through the dark, she steps on a human eyeball, and that gets squished underneath her shoe, which I'll be honest.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's our, like, fourth miscellaneous body part?
This actually made me shiver, but it gave me like, just because you see, like, a close of her heel hitting it, and then that squishing effect, and it's like, oh! It's like, oh, it was so good.
It was, it might even been like a pig's eye or something. Like, it's pretty
No,
cool.
yeah, it's one of the people's eyeballs. Come on, man.
So, but she doesn't think any of this. She thinks it's like one of the olives or something that Froze Jill left out. And then she notices that one of the meat hooks on the rail system is being rattled. It's like it's rattling around.
Out of fucking control.
Which is weird. It's like a fucking now we're turning to paranormal activity. It's like woo, rattling this around. A dead pig on a hook comes flying at her, but it stops right in front of her face before it hits her. She turns around at that point and bumps into Randy's dead body hanging on the meat hook. So now she's like, fuck, she screams. She looks over and sees the shadow of a man standing nearby. So she takes off running and she tries to hide in the meat freezer. And she ends up hiding, I don't know how because she runs like directly into the thing, but she ends up hiding right below the severed lower half of somebody's body.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm like, maybe it's Dave. Maybe we continue to cut him up afterwards, but it's just like legs. It's just severed legs.
This is Tim's body.
Are we sure it's because, okay, maybe, I guess. She does manage to grab a meat hook to arm herself with. Jen then sees and hears something move next to her on the other side of the shelf, so she screams, runs out of the freezer. She tries to close the freezer door behind her, but the killer manages to get an arm out to block the door from getting closed all the way. This struggle goes on for a while.
Keep slamming Ramey's body.
Yeah, she's trying to close the door. Then she stabs him with the meat hook in the hand, which makes him retreat his hand. So she closes the door, and then she uses Randy's dead body to try to block the door. But it doesn't work so well, and she runs away, and the killer just kind of comes right out of the closet. But
it's like Ramey's talking to his mom. It's like, Mom, I was in another movie. It's like, what's that? It's like, I'm the corpse. I keep getting meat hooked and slammed to the door several times.
She runs to the office, bangs on the door, shouting for Danny and Bill. But then she sees the pool of blood running out from underneath the door, and that's
a telltale sign.
Yeah, that's something's up. She backs away and then falls through an opening in the floor and down into a large chute, like a giant laundry chute.
It's one of the chutes.
Yes.
Because of the ladders.
It's chutes and ladders in this building. It's again, it's so weird. Like why? Like I get that. Okay, there'd be like maybe a giant like a trash chute or a laundry chute somewhere, but why would? It's just the layout of the store is so weird.
I don't fucking know. This building.
Why would there be a giant hole in the floor that you can just fall into?
Oh, he's got notes. The bathroom champions. Heck of the crapper.
She just falls down this hole in the floor and down what basically is like a giant laundry chute, and she slides down this thing, and at the bottom she nearly smashes into 2 garbage cans that are overstuffed with the cut up body parts.
She was doing Caseyville bowling.
With Jesus Christ. There's in one trash can. There's the upper torso. This is what I thought was Tim.
It is Tim.
And then there's his upper half's in one trash can, and the nugget of the trash can are his legs sticking out. So that's why I'm like, are there 2 sets of severed torsos now? Because one was in the meat locker.
Not a one.
So I want to apologize. I misspoke earlier. So that is Tim that we see now that's been cut in half because we see the sign they're about to talk about, and that is you see his feet earlier. That's what Dave sees in the. Because you don't see his feet sticking out of the trash can. It's his upper half.
No, there's feet next to him.
Is it?
Yes, there's 2 trash cans. His upper half's in one, and right next to him are his feet
Then I lost
out.
count. I could have swore it
There's
was
just
the other
so
way.
many chopped up body parts all over this place. So, anyway, she starts to.
Well, then ignore what I said.
Yeah, she. And just like the killer, because the killer's got him as a prankster. He slaps a sign on Tim's dead body that says,
What'd it say?
Price price slash in half or half off, something like that, 50% half off. She gets up, starts to run away again this time, but now she spots a bloody arm and I think a leg sticking out of the compactor, the baler now. So now there's bloody parts and boxes is sticking out there. We cut to a POV shot of someone's leg like riding down the conveyor belt, like that is slowly coming down. It's like, you see like the legs and the feet.
Did they do the Raimi part?
No, that's right now.
Moving on.
And then Jen runs over to see who it is. Like, oh God, something's coming. And we see Produce Joe lying on the conveyor belt. He's all bloody. But once the body reaches the bottom, the conveyor belt stops for a moment. And then the belt just goes in reverse, and the body starts going back up.
This was tense.
And then, but as the body starts going back up, gravity obviously shifts, and we see like his body parts like fall into pieces. Like you see an arm fall off, his head falls off, and it's like run down the bed.
Just fucking falls to pieces.
It's amazing. It's so great.
Falling to pieces. All right, we're done.
That's not how you do it, Tammy Wynette.
It's not Tammy Wynette.
So Jen runs right down this dark hallway into one of the back doors, which is locked. The back door is locked now. So she runs back the way she came, tries to hide in the beer cooler. She opens up one of the doors and so she can peek out into the store, and she finds Dave's sawed-off head sitting on top of some beer cans, and it's fucking awesome because it's not just a severed head, but you see like where it had severed from the neck, and then you also see where it was cut in half by the saw. So it's like a half of his head sitting on the lower half, but it's like offset.
Slightly
That's
off
the
kilter.
best because it's so good. Like his nose is not where like the bridge of his nose should be.
Yeah,
and that's what helps sell that.
And you see
kill
like
from
his
earlier.
teeth are like all messed up. Like, it's amazing.
Sells that shirt.
It's amazing.
That is the cover of my Blu-ray from Synapse Film.
Oh, is it?
Is that scene?
That's cool.
That's beast, man.
Yeah.
So she catches herself from screaming. She covers her mouth with her hands and catches herself from screaming. And now the lights go out. This does allow her now to see the headlights of a car pull up out front because the headlights shine through the store from the front door. The driver of the car gets out, tries to enter the store, but the doors are locked. Jen rushes out from her hiding spot trying to flag down the townies, but they drive off right as she gets to the doors, they drive away. And this is where, even though it's not really credited, but the passenger of that car was Greg Nicotero.
Oh, shit. Okay,
yeah.
so he's not the bread man.
No.
Fuck.
Breadman is one of the writers, I believe.
I thought the Breadman was the director.
Or the director, that's it. Yeah. It's one of the. It's right or director. One
Scott
of them.
Spiegel?
Yes.
Yes.
Spiegel or
I almost said Spike
Bannister
Spiegel, but I
or
know
Brewster
that's not
or whatever. I don't know. She backs away from the door, and as she backs away, she bumps into Craig, who she instantly stabs in the neck with a meat hook.
Good.
Craig falls into a shopping cart and then onto the floor dead. It's a pretty good looking fall. Jen stands there crying for a bit, then walks away.
And says, I know what you did last summer.
Yes. She stands at her checkout register while crying for a while. Then she hears another noise. She spins around calling out for who's there? The sound of footsteps echo through the store as Bill walks into view. Jen runs up to him, hugs him. They hug each other. Bill tells her that everything's going to be okay now, that he tried to stop Craig behind the store, but that son of a bitch knocked me out with my own hammer. Bill tells her to wait here. Like, hey, wait here. I'm going to go call the cops, which he does, and while Jen waits nearby. And that's when Jen feels, she's hugging herself, kind of got her arms wrapped around. She feels like something on her back, and she pulls her hands out, and her hands are covered in blood. And you see there's blood all on the back of her shirt.
Dun dun dun.
And she's like, what? And she looks up at Bill, who's on the phone. Bill looks back at her. Jen's out, no! And then Bill slams the phone down, charges at Jen.
Yeah, he's got those Jesus marks on the back of his hand.
Yes.
Like he's not eating Skittles.
Yes. Jen turns to run away. And again, I love this camera shot, this scene too, because Bill, instead of just running along the floor after, he runs across all the checkout lines. He's hopping from lane to lane, this running, hopping, jump thing. And she's running across the floor, and it looks creepy. It looks
good.
Great. It looks awesome.
It is fucking legit.
Yeah.
And he grabs her.
Yeah, and he's able to catch her. He grabs her, and he pulls out some of her hair. He pulls out some of her hair in the
He's got a little
process.
clump.
Yeah. And he has her trapped up against one of the checkout lanes, one of the registers. Jen's pleading, like, why'd you kill him? Why'd you do it? And Bill said he did it for the store, that he couldn't let Danny take the store away from him. When Jen says the night crew had nothing to do with this, Bill just says that he couldn't let anyone stop him. Jen spits in Bill's face, to which he licks off and says, don't you see, I'm just crazy about this store.
Crazy about this store.
And at this point, Danny Hicks is fucking awesome. Like, he goes full-blown, committed, crazy, and it's pretty awesome for me. I love it, what he does, his performance. He crushes it. At this point, the first thing that pops in my head, that Bill might as well, if you guys are gamers, so he kind of reminds me of, like, he should be like one of the psychopath mini bosses from like a Dead Rising game.
Fuck yeah,
like,
dude.
this is exactly a boss, a guy who's just
Like
normal
Frank
dude,
West
just
goes
went
to the
crazy.
grocery
Should have like a bunch of knives taped to the fucking end of a fucking
Well, in the
Zamboni.
first Dead Rising game, there is a grocery store in the mall, and
There
Frank
is,
West goes
yeah.
to, and he fights like the store owner.
was just
It's
thinking
the
that-
butcher.
It's the
yeah.
butcher. No, I don't know if it's a butcher, just like a guy in a tie, but it might be a butcher.
Thinking like the clown on the roller coaster, or that big chick in the fucking buffet.
All I
Yeah.
remember is the shopping cart, like, that had like a bunch of knives taped to the front.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, but like, this
Marvel
is
vs.
exactly what
Capcom.
he's a
Fuck yes.
fucking Dead Rising mini boss at this point.
Great reference, Marshall.
But I will say to you guys now, I will say this. I don't know, you've seen it before, but the first time I watched this movie, I will admit, I was actually surprised that Bill was the killer at this point. Normal time I was like, oh, you can see it coming, you can't get. But at this point, when I was watching, I wasn't thinking about who the killer was. Like, I knew it wasn't Craig, because that was too much of a red herring. But, like, I was surprised it was Bill. When it turned out to be Bill, I was a little surprised by that. I'm like, oh, interesting.
For
okay.
anybody who saw this in the, like, when it came out, or in the early 90s, both the trailer, the original VHS box,
I was going to talk about that
and
after
the
yes.
DVD
the line.
ruined it.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
And
that's when I had seen it.
See,
Like, I flipped it over and I
see
was
the
like,
cover.
oh, okay.
When I saw this on Amazon, it's just like a red. It says Intruder in black against a red background with like a silhouette. I mean, so there's no. But as I was doing research and stuff, like afterwards, yeah, it's like I can't believe on the box art and in the trailer, like they give away who the kill. For one, that's supposed to be a
shitty.
whodunit. I'm like, fuck. I'm so glad I watched the movie first before I saw any of that, because I got to experience it properly. Like, that was cool. But yeah, they fucking give, like, in a Friday 13th movie, it's no big deal because everybody knows you're there to see Jason. But in a one that's kind of like a who's done it, a mystery one, don't give away the fucking killers by putting it on the box and in the trailer. Leave the mystery there.
They even present Renee Estevez as being like the final girl.
At one point they do. Yeah,
and
they
she's
make a
the
big.
first one to die.
Yeah, they was like, with Renee Estevez, like she's a big. Nope, she's the first one dead.
So that's how I came into it. So I knew that Bill was the killer.
See, I did not know, and I'm so glad I got that, and it was cool. But yeah, I can't believe they put that on the box. Like, they give it away. Anyway, Bill tells Jen that he truly is sorry, but there's going to be one more killing here tonight, and it's going to be bloody. Jen presses a button to make the checkout conveyor belt move, you know, like the and it pulls, like it moves a bottle like into her reach where she grabs and hits Bill over the head with it.
It's a fucking plastic
But
bottle.
that's
and
the
it
funniest.
badunks.
Yes,
But it makes glass.
Yes,
Right.
But when she hits him over the head with him, it's like the sound of a 2-liter makes when he like
Like, it
thunk
hits
on the
him with
side.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, it's like a 2-liter plastic bottle, but when she drops on the floor, then it shatters like glass. It's the weirdest fucking bottle.
I got a call back. Lake Terror 3. Old boy in the beginning does the exact same thing.
You mean like Fear 3?
Yeah, fuck. I tried so hard to get it out of my memory.
I don't blame you, man. That will give you fucking brain trauma for
Throws the
years.
plastic bottle down, makes a glass noise.
Yes.
And we're back.
So, wait, that was a bowhead. Okay, we move up, skip the bottle. Bill falls over, he collapses the floor. Jen runs away down one of the aisle. She knocks over another bottle, which breaks onto the floor, and then she hides behind / inside like an end cap display for Jiffy Pop.
That was pretty clever.
Yeah, it actually was. I was like, okay. Bill gets his hands on another meat cleaver now, so they're just all over the place, which is fine. Whatever. They have a butcher shop in the back, so I'm not gonna argue.
In the earlier
I like that
kills.
scene too because he picks up like his hands like dripping blood, like raining it, and he's like, fucking pulls it out.
Blood.
Yes. So blood, and then we see blood from Jen, like her nose is bleeding and she's bloody, starts to drip down into a pool of liquid from that bottle that she just broke, and it's running underneath her hiding spot out onto the aisle floor. And there's also this really cool shot, again, another great camera shot of Bill that it's all warped because it's shooting through like a green glass bottle, I think.
Oh, like a funhouse mirror.
And yeah, it turns his head and face looks like it's a funhouse mirror effect, which makes Bill even crazier and creepier looking. Then it's really awesome. It's a really good shot. And after, then there's some moments after a few moments of looking for Jen, Bill spots the blood that's kind of in the liquid that's on the floor coming out from her hiding spot. So she's like, oh shit, he figures out where she is now. Bill turns and begins hacking away at the display stand with this meat cleaver. And Jen manages to like run off. His popcorn's flying everywhere. And he's just hacking away. Jen then grabs 2 large knives from the back. So she goes from the front of the store to the back of the store, arms herself these 2 large kitchen knives, and starts her way to make her way through the store now, like slowly creeping, being careful. She's creeping out on the cereal aisle when Bill comes crashing out from behind the cereal boxes, grabs Jen by the hair. She drops her knives. Bill begins to pull her up by the hair, but she grabs a glass bottle of wheat germ and smashes it over Bill's head, forces him to release his grip on her. And poor Bill, this fucker's gonna have a goddamn concussion after this movie.
He's been smashed around quite a bit.
He's been hit in the head with a hammer. 2 bottles have been broken over his head. He's been
Guys, I'm kind of worried about Jennifer. So much blood loss.
from the nose,
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
something's not right.
She's got to be getting a little woozy here, man.
Well, if people would just guys would stop bitch slapping their girls,
Right,
she would
just
stop
stop
getting
slapping them around.
The Shining effect would stop. It'd stop happening. But Jen grabs one of the knives and runs for the front door, which is still locked. She grabs a nearby fire extinguisher. This thing's a massive fucking fire extinguisher, and tries using it to break the glass in the door, but she just can't break this fucking bulletproof super glass now.
No shit.
Like, goddamn. Outside, up comes the bread delivery guy with his nightly bread delivery. Jen's like pleading for help me. But he just instantly gets shanked in the back by Bill.
Bill is somehow outside of this.
Yeah,
This is
somehow
kinda
Bill's
weird.
outside. Yeah.
Everywhere you need to be.
Yeah, he's like American Express. But I will say, I thought that he shouldn't be outside that fucking fast. But at the same time, we have established there are so many exits to this place.
No shit.
There's lots of exits, and if anybody's gonna know how to get outside quickly, it's gonna be Bill, who is the guy who's worked in the store for
He
like
is
30
49%
years.
owner of that store.
Yeah, he is. He's been here forever.
You know what? It actually would have made more sense if it was like a Scream 2 Killers. Spoiler alert.
We haven't seen Stream yet.
Or if he had like a companion like him and... Well, I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody.
The
Thank you for
bread
wasting our
dude gets
time.
instantly shanked. Yeah, and he gets murdered. He coughs up mouth blood onto the glass door and just sprays all over the glass doors. Bill, I love it. It's made me laugh. As the bread guy is like falling to the ground, Bill just bonks the poor son of a bitch over the head for good measure.
Bonus bonk.
Just
Yep.
like bonk, and then taunts Jen by dangling the store keys in front of her on the other side of the glass, and then just walks out of sight.
You got a name for that kill?
No, he doesn't, because he's been cut off.
No, it's all out of whack anyway.
Jen hears a noise coming from behind her somewhere in the store. She spins around, calling out who's there, then slowly starts to make her way back to the store, creeping around. And at this point, I think I would personally try my luck with continuing to try to break the glass doors down than to go back through the dark murder
Right.
store. And
alley.
your exit's right there. If you can get out, you're outside, you can run. I would not.
That's
I
your
would,
single barrier.
Yeah, like just it's glass. Eventually it's gonna break. So I would have tried my luck with that, but she doesn't. She makes her way through the store. She hears the painful moans of someone calling for help. She turns the corner and finds Danny. Danny's still fucking laying there on the ground, sticking out from behind an aisle. I'm like, God damn, this guy just will not die. Good for him. He is hanging on. She rushes over to help him, and that's when Danny's head, she's like, hey, let me help you up. And she starts lifting up, and his head lifts up off the ground, and out steps Bill with his hand stuck up Danny's neck stump, working his head like a fucking puppet.
This is so cool.
It's so cool and creepy. Bill looks at Danny's severed head, gives it a little kiss, then turns to Jen and tells her she's next.
I would have fucking thrown thrown it at her.
Dude, it is so... Again, Danny
was
Hicks
legit.
is killing it in the scene. It's fucking creepy. It's disturbing. It's awesome.
Even when she's around, like, and you see that it's him, he's like still mocking the
Yeah,
voice.
he's like,
and he's like,
help me, ha, ha.
it's so
How
good.
many opportunities
Yeah.
are you gonna have to do that in your life? So just
Yeah.
run with it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
I mean, if I ever get a chance to stick my head up a severed neck stump and work the head like a... Of course I'm going to
do
fucking... You do it. You don't pass that up. Jen goes to stab Bill with her knife, but like a fucking badass boss, Bill grabs the blade in his free hand. As blood pours down his hand, he pulls the knife out of Jen's hand. Jen backs away while Bill stands there, again, being a fucking badass. And to make it even more awesome, he starts squeezing his hand around the knife blade tighter, and just letting it dig into his hand.
Just how fucking crazy he is.
Yes, it's like, let me squeeze that, and blood just running down his arm.
I love that scene.
Fucking love Crazy
The
Bill
look
in
on
this
his
movie.
face, too.
Yeah.
Just deadpan stare at her as he fucking squeezes
Oh,
and
it's
that blood
amazing.
is just going down.
I said before, I'm saying Danny Hicks crushes it so hard in this movie. Bill stares down Jen, squeezing the blade tighter. He finally drops the knife and walks towards Jen, who continues to back away. Bill at this point grabs a sandwich from one of the shelves and starts eating it while swinging Danny's severed head in his other hand, which is a fucking great visual. It's awesome looking, and it pulls us back to that story he told about the fireman earlier. He's like, here comes Crazy Bill, eating a sandwich in one hand, swinging his head in the other.
You can actually see like the bloody fingerprints in this like white bread sandwich too. It's like, man, that's like he's really getting at it. Like they went that extra mile for that special effect.
100%. It's so great. Jen turns, jogs away. As Jen makes her way down through the dark store, she gets grabbed by Craig, who turns out to still be alive.
Oh, Bill's scapegoat.
He covers her mouth to keep her from screaming, then explains his side of the story, telling her that he saw Bill kill Linda outside, and when he tried to warn Jen while she was in the bathroom, Bill caught him. They fought outside. Bill knocked him out with the hammer and kept him alive so he could frame Craig for the killings. So
did he really try to warn her though?
It didn't really look like there was no knocking. It was like he was peeking.
It's more like he was taking his belt
He's
off.
like, you know what? I'll warn her, but I'm going to watch her for a second. Then I'll warn her.
I ain't seen nothing like this in 15 months.
Yeah, I'm gonna jerk off real quick and then I'll warn her.
This next scene though is a lot of fun.
So he also says that he tried calling the cops, but he got, he tried calling the cops, didn't have any luck with that, and he got into the store via the bathroom window, and that's how they're gonna get out of the store. Like, come on, we're going that way. And that's when Bill comes flying in from around a fucking corner. I love this so much. Oh my god, this is the best.
This is hands down probably the greatest fight I've ever seen in a horror movie.
It probably is. He comes flying around the corner, hits Craig in the face with Danny's severed head.
I've never seen a weapon like this before.
Never seen a severed head using the weapon. It's fucking... And goddamn, I fucking love this movie. Bill continues to beat Craig down and out with the severed head, just repeatedly bashing Craig over and over, just beating the shit out of Craig with a severed head. Jen takes off running for the back. Craig's lying there motionless on the floor. Bill whacks him a few more times just for good measure with the severed head.
Great scene, man.
Then drops the head like he's dropping a mic, and the head lands on Craig's back and just sits there. And Bill goes back after Jennifer, who is now trying to crawl out the bathroom window. He manages to get out the window. She does manage to get out the window, but we see Bill's hands come flying like through the window right behind her, like right on her heels. Jen makes it to her car, fumbles for her keys, but she is able to unlock her car door, opens the car door, and that's when out falls Linda's dead body with the knife sticking out of her chest. Bill's arms now come springing out from underneath her car, her Jeep. It's a
everywhere.
Jeep. He is everywhere.
I was just being quiet. You guys were doing such a good job. I didn't want to say
anything. And he grabs Jen by the ankle. She falls to the ground, and he pulls her underneath her Jeep and out the other side, where he stands over her with the meat cleaver clenched between his teeth like a fucking pirate.
Again.
He grabs the meat cleaver out of his mouth while laughing at Jen. He raises up to go for a killing blow. Jen tells him to suck on this, and then from under the Jeep, she pulls out the knife that was embedded in Linda's chest. Jen stabs Bill in the chest with the knife. Bill says, "Where'd you get that knife from?" And then falls over dead.
I love the way he says it too. He's so surprised.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that knife?
And the impact of his body hitting the concrete is enough to send the knife in his chest, shooting upwards, where it flips end over end in the air, then lands point first, sticking in a box next to Bill's head. Jen gets up, looks down at Bill for a moment, then rushes to a nearby payphone where she dials 911. The operator picks up, she starts her report, but before she can finish it, here comes Bill crashing through the glass phone booth head first, meat cleaver in hand. Jen tries to beat him back with the phone. Bill then starts rocking the whole phone booth, shaking it back and forth to eventually tips over the phone booth with Jen inside. Glass shatters when it hits the ground. Bill climbs up into the phone booth as Jen's trying to crawl out the broken side of it now. He's going at her. Now up runs Craig, who grabs the meat cleaver that Bill dropped and just starts hacking at Bill with the cleaver.
Bring it on
brutal.
Home. Bring it on home.
Just out of nowhere.
Aaron would be proud of me in a way. He'll also laugh. I counted. Craig hacked Bill 15 times with the meat cleaver.
Fuck yeah.
15 times with the meat cleaver, one of which catches Bill right between the ring and middle finger, right in the webbing.
This was great. Gives him the old Spock permanently.
Yeah, the
Gives him
Spock.
the fucking Voorhees.
And then, so he's just done, and Bill finally goes limp after 15 whacks. Jen and Craig stand over the lifeless body of Bill, blackout. You think it's over? It's not over.
Nope.
Pan up on Craig standing there covered in blood, holding the meat cleaver as the cop car drives up. Bitch, motherfucker, how stupid are you? Your ass just got out of prison for murder or accidentally killing somebody.
He did it once,
and you're going to be standing there holding the bloody murder weapon as
Nicolas Cage and somebody.
Why are you holding the knife? Don't pick that shit up. Get rid of it.
Let's just put your fingerprints on that shit real quick.
Well, it's already on it, but don't be saying they're holding it when the cops
Jen,
come
hold
up.
this for me.
Yeah.
You know what? Put your hands behind your heads. Get on your fucking knee with the cops show up.
So,
Like,
exactly.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
You know the routine.
I do.
The cop car pulls up. Two cops get out. One of the cops is Bruce Campbell. The other is played by the writer Lawrence Bender. The cops quickly grab and handcuff both Craig and Jen. Viciously. Jen tries to plead with him that it's not that she's the one who called them in the first place. But that's when the cops hear the strained and gaspy voice coming from behind them say, "They did it! They killed everybody in the store!" They look back and see Bill covered in blood, lying in the broken, shattered phone booth, still clinging to life. Craig and Jen are like, "No, he's the killer. He did." Bill giggles. He's like, he giggles a little bit and then seems to go limp again.
Wait, Marshall, how was that like?
I don't know. He's not like that. But he gives him a giggle and he goes limp again. Bruce Campbell goes over to look inside the store, comes back saying that it's a bloodbath and that all the bodies have been mutilated, which again, there's no way he would have seen. All the bodies are basically in the back. He wouldn't have seen them, but whatever.
He saw that pre-shrunk hand in the fucking deli wrap.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing sitting out in plain sight. They're all
special.
Jen and Craig continue to try to convince the cops that they're innocent and that Bill's the killer, but they just get ignored. And in Craig's case, beaten by the cops. Like this, we're talking like nowadays. Cops get bad name for too much force.
What's your badge number, motherfucker?
These guys are like just beating the shit out of Craig at this point, and almost Jen to the point too. Like they might have slapped her too,
like old school cops.
because that's just what you did in the 80s. You slapped women.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell was dealing with Matt Cordell from Maniac Cop, so he's not playing games. He's like, "Fuck, I've seen what happens."
He knows how that goes.
Yeah, so Craig gets beaten a bit by the cops. The cops read them their rights.
Deserves it.
Yeah. As the cops are reading them their rights, Bill's eyes pop open again. The camera does this fast zoom in to Jen's mouth as she's screaming. Fade to black. Roll credits. That motherfuckers is Intruder. What a fucking ride of a movie that is. Holy cow. Wow. So with that in mind, hot on the tails of that, let's move on to favorite kills.
Don't act like you didn't love it. Favorite kill.
All right, boys. What do we got? We'll start with Nachos because we'll go clockwise. Nachos, what's your favorite?
I'm gonna go with that bandsaw kill where he fucking cuts him right
Dave.
below the nose, right above the lip, or wherever, in that zone.
Yeah.
That was heinous as fuck.
Yeah.
Woof.
CJ, Cincinnati
Jeff, what you got?
I'm gonna have to go with the bandsaw kill as well, man.
As well?
Just the way it looked, and for Marshall,
Marshall.
or for Aaron, I'm gonna have to go ahead and side with not just Werewolf and Cincinnati Jeff and say that the bandsaw was probably my favorite as well.
Yes,
that
Aaron did call in when he called in. He did give us his favorite kill. That was his. Now this movie, again, fucking awesome. When I first saw it, like, oh my god, that trash compactor was
That's solid,
shit.
too.
That was fucking amazing. That's it. That's my favorite kill.
was a cool
Can't
one.
beat that. And then they upped it with the fucking bandsaw, that reciprocating
It's hard
saw.
not to, man.
You can't
Dude.
beat. That's one of the best
That's
kills.
capital.
Like until this movie, like Aaron and I used to talk about, okay, what's your top 5 kills of all in all horror movies? And I couldn't listen. Now that might be up there as one of my top kills of all time. I ranked it up there with the liquid nitrogen face smash from Jason X. Those are like my top 2 favorite kills now ever. So there it is, man.
You ain't wrong, man. You ain't wrong.
Clean sweep with the Dave's bandsaw head getting split, cut open. So that was easy. All right, let's move on to this week's odds and ends.
Just when you thought it was over, here comes the odds and ends.
All right, so this week we have ratings. IMDb gives it a 6.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, there is no official thermometer score for it, but it has a 52% audience score, which is one of the higher scores we've seen on this show. And Amazon gives it a 3.8 out of 5. I'm spoiling my ending, but I think that's drastically undervalued. I think that's too low.
Yeah,
plot
it is.
keywords. There were 36 plot keywords. I only wrote down 4 because most of them were pretty
Let me guess. We got
bland.
what, like shopping, grocery,
We have
lobster,
Nosebleed,
supermarket.
lobster panties.
No.
Damn it.
Supermarket cashier, and watermelon were the plot keywords for this movie.
watermelon.
Nosebleed
Watermelon.
wasn't one of them.
No.
That's kind of a shocker.
Trivia. There was actually a decent amount of trivia I was able to pull up. Some of it we might have already accidentally talked about. The first thing, the film was shot in an actual grocery store in Bell, California. So there we go, California. During the evenings when the store was closed. The film was originally entitled The Night Crew, but distributors felt the film would be more marketable if it was given a more generic slasher movie title, so it was released as Intruder. Emilio Sitka's character says the line, hold hands, you lovebirds. Emilio Sitka is known for saying this line in the Three Stooges shorts, which Sam Raimi is a big fan of. It also is written on Emilio Sitka's tombstone, so you guys kind of mentioned that earlier, so you called that one.
Not to step on your toes, man.
No, I don't remember what I don't remember what I had this. At one point in pre-production, Toby Hooper was originally set to direct this movie.
Hoops.
The town where the film is set, Walnut Lake, Michigan, is named after a lake in West Bloomfield, Michigan called Walnut Lake. Director Scott Spiegel and the Raimi brothers and Bruce Campbell grew up in the West Bloomfield Hills area of that. So, okay,
I was going to say, without being a Raimi movie, this sure as fuck felt like it.
The film was partially based around Scott Spiegel's experience working at the real Walnut Lake Market in Michigan, because I guess they had
When that
severed
murder
hands.
got loose.
Yeah, they put severed hands in lobster tanks all the time, and
That's all we used to do in Schnooks and Collinsville. Hilarious pranks.
it was also something of a remake of an earlier Super 8 short film by Spiegel. The short was a slasher story called Night Crew and featured a more Halloween-inspired killer.
I would have been alright with that.
And we didn't talk about this, but in the movie a lot, they do in the checkout lines, where Jennifer's always working, you always see this. You see two things quite a lot. You see I forget the name of the magazine, but a magazine with a crazy picture of Sting on it.
Yeah,
a lot.
dude.
And then there's
The
also
musician almost looks like the wrestler.
yes,
Musician.
Sting in that one does look like a wrestler because he's got this face paint
It's
on.
called like Spurge or something.
Something like I don't remember. But
Ew.
there's also a TV guy that's predominantly shown and at the checkout line, and that's the TV guy from March 12th, 1988. So if you're really curious. And director Scott Spiegel originally thought of having the final shot of the zooming where it zooms in on Jen's mouth screaming, go all the way down Jennifer's throat, inside her body to her heart, and the movie would end on a freeze frame as her heart stopped beating. Which actually would have been pretty cool. I would have been okay with that. That sounds pretty cool.
Every shot, like the majority of these shots in this movie, when they have like their novelty shots, super ambitious.
Oh yeah,
really, and honestly, yeah, and they all kind of paid off. Really, none of them were like.
And then it ends on freeze frame.
So I got one. It's nothing too crazy. Okay. But they had, they rented that vacant supermarket. They bought 2 tons worth of expired groceries and put them out on the shelves themselves like that. So this actually like real groceries stuff. Like, it was like really damaged goods from like train salvage depots and stuff like that. Like that they like bought 2 tons of it like super cheap and like actually stocked that grocery store. That's really groceries like the whole time.
That's
kind of
cool.
crazy.
Well, I mean, I have some are real groceries because I mean you see some name brands from the 80s like there's like Boo Berry or
hell, you even see Oreo.
Yeah, Oreo, Fruit, Jiffy Pop and stuff like that.
Beer.
And beer brand beer. Can't forget that.
Should we make beer brand
all right,
beer?
so guys, let's bring. I really wish Aaron could have been here because I'd love to get his answers and thoughts on this. But that brings us to this week's budget game.
Fuck.
Woo!
It's now time to play everyone's favorite game, Guess the Budget.
All right, we get to play Guess the Budget for the 1989 Intruder, and we start. Obviously, it's between the two of you guys. So one will win, one will lose. Nachos, what do you think is the budget for Intruder?
I don't know math, so I'll just do I'll do 128, 000.
128, 000. Okay, and Eric.
Yeah, Cincinnati Jeff. What do you got?
All right, sorry, Cincinnati Jeff. Sorry,
Damn
yes.
it.
The cover's
They're
been
after
blown.
me. I'm gonna go a little bit higher than you because I feel like this is correct, right? So 1980s, late 80s, they bought a bunch of groceries. I'm gonna do 129,000.
129. Wow, you're playing Price is Right rules here. All right.
Oh, can I change my answer?
If you really
What
want,
he said plus $1.
$1. Well, we have a winner, and in the closest budget game battle ever,
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Cincinnati Jeff wins.
Oh!
He pulled the $1 rule, the 1,501.
Was I dead on?
Estimated budget, $130,000.
Holy shit, dude!
I thought Nachos. I was like, Nachos got. Nachos gonna win this.
Fucking good.
And then you come in with the 129.
I was
like,
to be a dick.
Well,
Look at you! Look at you knowing stuff. I still won, but look at you.
well, for winning, your prize is a vintage 1980s Price gun that you saw used in the movie.
Oh my gosh!
I bought it off eBay, but it hasn't arrived yet. So you will get that. You will get your 1980s Price gun as prize.
Just gonna go around my house just pricing shit.
So that's it, guys. Let's move on. Congratulations to Cincinnati Jeff. Let's move on to 5-star reviews. Woo!
Is this your guilty pleasure? 5-star reviews.
Oh shit, what do we got?
All right, there were 138 total reviews for this movie on Amazon. 44% of them were 5-star, with only 11% 1-star. So I said, fuck the 1 stars this week.
Yeah.
From Ben Walsden, Intruder should have been called Halloween in a Supermarket. It's a scary slasher movie from a time when slashers were fun and gory. The first half hour is kind of slow, not boring, just slow. However, after it's nonstop horror as the killer stalks the employees at a grocery store that is going out of business. The twist ending is clever and sets up a sequel. I don't understand why there hasn't been a sequel to this, considering it's better than half of the Friday the 13th series. If the flick had some nudity, it would be a perfect slasher movie. As it is, it's an almost perfect slasher movie. 5 stars. Now, I don't know about setting up a sequel, really, but
how and
I
why?
don't understand that. But
I mean, I guess maybe because you don't see Bill eat it at the end.
yeah, because he's alive.
What, has
Yeah.
he become a manager at a fucking Chili's or
Yeah,
something?
he goes on and now he's a man.
Holy shit, I want to see that actually.
Well, I mean, this is like pre-forensic, so like he could pin it on both of them
Yeah.
and continue on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the dude.
I
that
don't.
got-
I like
wrong.
it.
That's thin.
Sometimes horror movies just need to be one and done. If they're good, just let it be one. You don't
It
need.
doesn't
Fucking
have
A,
to be that
Marshall.
franchise.
Fucking A.
Andrew Lynch. This Sam Raimi film is true 80s cheesy yet genius movie. 5 stars. Shane just writes, yes!
It's actually
5 stars.
Cobra Commander.
I like Shane.
Yes, it's actually Cobra Commander.
I love this movie.
From David Lee. I wonder if he jumps.
You motherfucker. You motherfucker.
Great storyline, great acting, and most of all, great gore. If you're a fan of 80s horror, this crowning jewel will not let you down. And if you're a fan of gory kill scenes, this one will surely satisfy your bloodlust. 5 stars. And lastly, from Michael Buttram, or Buttram. Buttram. Lots of good kills. 5
That's my
stars.
straight name.
There you have it. That's our 5-star reviews from the internet. That brings us to our final thoughts on Intruder. Nachos McWerewolf. Jesus, you're a disgusting bastard.
Yep.
Please,
Do you have a wet nap?
just end this.
All right. So the first time I watched this movie years ago, I thought it was fucking garbage. And I don't remember this movie the way it was. I thought it was Craig was the killer, and I don't remember the third act revelation where Bill is like, I love this store. I'm just crazy about this store. The kills, 10. Just bulletproof. The plot, not bad. Probably about a 7. No nudity. But whatever, dude. It's so bad. Or so good. It's scary. Did I do it right this time?
No.
No.
God damn it.
So bad it's
Good.
So bad it's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn one of these days.
God, why do I keep having this guy on?
I
don't
no
know.
idea, man. I brought him. It's my fault,
It is your
really.
It's been a rough week.
Yeah, I bring him every time. I'm sorry. All right, Cincinnati Jeff thinks that it is so bad it's good, and here's why. It's got some issues for sure. Let's get to that. The main one that I have is this scene after we know that Bill's the killer and Jenny is running from him, and she's running across the aisles, similar to what he does when he's running across the checkouts.
Yeah,
that
And
was cool.
She is moving just ridiculously slow. I feel like it's deliberate to the point where it's supposed to be funny, but it's really bad. If you don't remember it, we've got to look it up later because you know what I'm talking about, where she's running across the front of the aisles. And
No, I was more focused on the camera angle.
it looks
Sorry.
like this Pee-wee's adventure kind of. It's not great.
Oh, you mean is the scene where it's not the scene where she's being chased by Bill across the aisle. There's another scene of her just running across the aisle, and she is running really slow and weird.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought you were talking about the one with Bill, and I was like, that's awesome. I didn't see
No,
that.
that part's awesome.
No,
It's this one by herself.
Yes,
and
I
they're
know
looking
exactly what you're
down the aisle
Yes.
from the other end.
Yes, and I'm like, I thought something like, why is she running so fucking slowly and
That is
weird?
the weirdest scene to
Yeah.
me. Other
I
than
get
that,
that,
though,
but-
I think the movie's great. So yeah, man, it's so bad it's good.
Aaron, when he also said so bad it's good, and I am going to we're clean sweeping this, man. I am so bad it's good. This movie is awesome. I can't believe I went nearly 40 years without knowing about this movie. I'd never heard this before. I was just stumbling across movies, and I was going through Amazon, what am I going to do? And I found movies that a killer in a grocery store. I'm like, a fucking grocery store? Hell yeah, that's going to be terrible. Let's watch it. No. This movie may have become my all-time favorite slasher now. I love this movie. The kills are amazing. The characters are fine.
It's real good.
And it holds, man. I now would have thought something in a grocery store would hold up, but it fucking does. And Danny Hicks as Bill crushes it. Killer performance. It's so good. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch it now. It's awesome. You will not be disappointed. So bad it's good. So that's going to wrap us up for here. Boys, the Dukes of Spook, if you want to plug your shit, go ahead.
Yeah, so we are Nachos Werewolf and Cincinnati Jeff from Here Comes the Spooky. You can find us on iTunes and Google Play and anywhere else where you want to get Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. And also make sure you check out Here Comes the Spooky as well as the Horrible Horror Podcast. And find them out. Make sure that you get to them, answer their questions on what kind of things you want to see from them. They're going to answer these questions on their podcast, and make sure you get to them and give to their Patreon. These guys put themselves through a lot of stuff. Now, this one,
My God,
we've been talking about a great movie tonight.
POWs at this point,
right?
Just fucking eating all this shit.
It's over 5 years worth of bad horror movies.
Christ.
This lot of this stuff isn't free.
Give them a fucking dollar.
Just
You're
$1 a
splitting
month.
it
That's all
in
you
half.
gotta do.
50 cents.
That's why I have you guys on the show.
It's awesome.
That's why I have you guys on the show.
We both are Patreons. I give myself, so make sure you do it too. It's super easy. It only costs $1 a month. That's all you got to do.
Of course, if you want to give more, we'll certainly take it, and we'd love you for it. There are tiers and rewards for donating higher, but yes, even $1 a month helps out so much, and we would love you for it. So, and Aaron would say, see you later, take care. He's not here, but he'll be back.
See you later. Take care.
Yeah. All right, so guys, thank you very much for sitting in. I appreciate you. I love having you guys here. A lot of fun. That's it for us. We wrap it up here. Watch The Intruder. Until then, guys, watch more horror movies, and remember to always keep it tight.
Keep it tight.